Dark-haired man experiments in the lab. Every action has a process. Molecules vibrate, heat spikes, and the water boils as the boy watches, fascinated. Using mind magic, the dark-haired boy finishes brewing black coffee and calls someone. 3 unique beauties swarm show, clinging to him with pure admiration. Reborn in a primitive world, he used internet knowledge and mind magic to spam broken cheats, starting this wild life 2 years ago after a twist of fate. This genius streamer crafts wild inventions using everyday items. Launched on his 20th birthday, 3 months later the sub count was only 5 people. He was annoyed. Show banked on daily uploads, certain that one day he'd finally get noticed and his views would skyrocket. Frustrated by his low sub count, he immediately started filming a new video. Suddenly, he wakes up in a strange forest and immediately dumps out his nearby backpack. His pack held a towel, lighter, plate, chocolate container, and multi-tool. He was glad he had them. Shaw checks his phone, no signal, battery's dying, and he forgot to charge it. Shaw suddenly snaps back, looking around in horror, completely lost. Shaw regains his cool and hunts for an exit. A lifelong hiker, he's never seen plants like these before. Terror gripped him, lost in a self-growing forest. He wondered if he died or crossed into another world. Rain slams the forest, scrambling for cover, it hits him, he's in another world. Hiding from the rain in a hollow tree, Sho dreamed of another world but found 0 signs of magic. Ages passed in the forest. Staring at the fire, he realized he still hadn't met the girls. This wasn't the life he wanted. Next day, Shaw scours the forest for someone, leaning on a wooden stick until he halts before a field of white flowers. He spots a massive flower. It looks like a 3-petaled bananesis, but it's way bigger than the real thing. Shu saw the transparent sunflower-like petals suddenly wilt and ooze shiny black beads, leaving him stunned. He whipped out his phone to film the bizarre, colorful process. His phone dies, so he sets it aside. Shaw pulls a bead from the flowers and the boy wonders if it's edible. He pushed to the waterfall and collapsed onto a rock, exhausted. He wondered if anyone else was out there then. Sudden pain struck. A massive tick-like bug bites Shaw. He tries to rip it off, but it clings tight until he blacks out. Thinking it's the end, the boy sees an angelic silhouette, but it's just a beautiful girl, and she notices he's awake. Shu's stunned by her beauty, feeling like he's in paradise, but she's completely clueless. Wand ready, she demands to know if Camillo sent him, but Shaw denies the connection and insists he's innocent. To clear suspicion, he introduces himself. She's never heard a name so strange, but Shaw just thanks her for the rescue. Rubia finds the boy paralyzed by a spider bite, magically purges the venom, and lets him recover at her house. Magic confirmed it. Shu's in another world. Suddenly, something catches the girl's eye and she turns away. Rubia's obsessed with his weird gear. Noticing her container, he claims he found it in the forest. He opens the container, explaining how white flowers wilted into red fruit. Rubia's thrilled, they're small merch berries. Clueless about their worth, he offers the berries to Rubia for saving him. She panics, they're way too valuable. He didn't get her panic to him. Those rare flowers were everywhere near where he collapsed. Sho invited her to see them, leaving her blushing and totally stunned. Rubia shyly accepts his proposal, but a clueless Sho just stares at the blushing girl. Shaw moved in with a girl, realizing he was stuck in a medieval world with 0 tech, no power, no plumbing, and even drawing well water was a struggle. No status screens, a spider attacks, a total anomaly since monsters never target him. This isn't the reincarnation story he expected. Pondering reincarnation, Rubia sparks the fire and calls him to dinner. He's exhausted, but Sho is hyped for the magic. Stuttering and shy, Sho thanked Rubia for her help, but then begged for magic lessons and bowed low. Time passes, she refuses to teach him magic until he becomes her student. Only then can she truly be his master. True masters are basically scientists. Rubia's pendant proves she's certified, unlike the eccentric weirdo's self-studying magic. To Rubia, magic is the ultimate hunt for truth. Forget that, and you've got it all backwards. He understood magic was handy. He cleared his throat to speak. Tired of being in her debt, he looks for work, so Ruby suggests he become a scientist. Sho disagrees. He bows low and begs Rubius to train him. She was uneasy. True masters are rare, so she had to test his potential. He'd do anything to learn magic. She asks about his faith. Staring blankly, he confidently denies God exists. He only trusts his own eyes, dismissing God as a half-truth without proof. Then the girl asks about miracles. Shaw never saw a miracle, but he's certain they follow a logical reason and process. Seek the truth to bend God's miracles. Ruby stared in shock. The boy's answer was the mark of a true scientist. She's hunting for his identity but calls it a verbal test. The real trial starts now. Outside, Ruby props her staff and tells Sho to light it. He's stunned, but if he masters the theory, the magic will do the rest. He stood silent, knowing the boy's path would be brutal. He's deep in magic theory, realizing heat creates fire and hunting for a way to spark it. Let's try, he's analyzing. Compressing air generates massive heat just like a car engine. Sho realized he could use this to ignite. He thinks it and a warm sphere instantly appears, stunning Rubia with his speed. Shaw palms the heat into the hearth, a beat of silence, then it flares, torching the wood. Success. Disaster, the heat ball overloads the fireplace, blasting Rubia into the ash. Shocked, the witch demands to know why he used magic. Shaw needs heat for the fire, so he decides to compress air. His words stunned her. He's just an untrained nobody. How did he pull it off? Rubia agrees, but his theory only works on paper. It's not a process. He needs to visualize the true reason fire burns. He realized wood carbon and air oxygen fused to create the element gorongi. Sho realized the ignition image wasn't mandatory. Rubia said he just needed to visualize the gorenji phenomenon. Focusing on carbon and oxygen, magic surges in his palm and ignites the wood. Flames blast from the chimney again. No explosion this time, the fire holds. Tom enjoyed the fire, but Rubia was floored by his talent. He mastered magic logic with just one tip. He happily asked to be her student while she stood there speechless. Sho joins Ruby, a master's apprentice. He thinks magic is easy because he knows science, but these locals don't even understand basic physics. Magic was too easy, the perfect viral hit to land 10 million subs. That dream was finally becoming a reality. Result: life brightened as Ruby's apprentice. Between chores, Sho now collects and studies plants and insects alongside her. Life brightened as Ruby's apprentice. Between chores, Sho. Trekking the forest, Rubia watches a butterfly while Sho hones his magic strikes until she suddenly asks him about air compression theory. Expanding air cools while compression heats, vibrate atoms for heat or stop them to freeze. He goes silent, leaving her stunned by his intel. Rubia notes his perfect manners, a rare combo of brains and class. Rubia asks about his school, so Sho lies, claiming he's just an ordinary student. Rubia stunned, his country's standards must be insane. Sho dropped out back home, so her words baffle him, but Japan's education is elite. They hit the river. She claims his logic will make training a breeze, letting him master magic fast. Meanwhile, Sho is busy in the water. He slams a stone against the water. Moments later, lifeless fish float to the surface. The man strikes an underwater stone, stunning the fish with a shockwave. He cleans and preps the catch, leaving it on the rock for Shaw. Shaw dries the fish with magic to convert proteins into amino acids, then triggers fermentation. Instantly, the fish is dried. Realizing magic is a total win, the boy skewers it on a stick. An hour passes. He's used every spell, burning, heating, and freezing everything in his path. He used plant and fermentation magic to boost harvests and slim down, making heavy lifting a breeze. Physical magic needs no spells. Known as primal magic, it's simple and perfect for daily life. Magic is small-scale. It lights stoves, not cities, and boils pots, not ponds. It can still be a weapon, and one man realizes its potential while cooking. Heating magic works like a microwave. Apply it to a human, and their body water boils for an instant kill. The thought terrified him. Dinner served. Rubia loves the feast, but as she eyes the honey-covered bread, she worries about stings. Luckily, the boy enchanted the hive to gather it safely. If Shaw only took some honey, the hive would have survived. Now, racked with guilt, he's building them a new home. Rubia loved the honey, shocked he could cook. He lacked talent but was obsessed with the craft. He loves his craft. If he fails a dish, he just remakes it and calmly eats his mistake. Sho heads outside after eating and finds ticorito, a bamboo-like plant that's easy to craft and super versatile. Ticoretto cabin guy nicks his hand. Sho regrets skipping gloves and remembers a recent talk. Rubia confirms healing magic is real, so the host asks if it can cure every disease and injury. Healing magic isn't a miracle fix, it just boosts natural recovery, making it useless against early or late-stage sickness. He's dying to ask about healing magic again, but he can't use it here, and she warns him to stop trying to learn it. Recalling the talk, Shaw gloves up, chops the bamboo, slides a thin piece inside, and jams it into the ground. Magic surges from his palms. He fires compressed air into the bamboo tube, jams a thick plug inside, and releases the pressure. Air thins, the bamboo cork shoots up, and Sho laughs. It worked. If he filmed it, school kids would have loved it. Shaw wanted to film his experiment but had no power. Suddenly, a voice called out and he whipped around. A horse-drawn cart sits by the cabin as a group of girls head for the door, waiting for entry. 4 girls arrive to meet Rubia, including 2 maids. Sho watches from the shadows, curious about these total strangers. 4 girls, 2 maids in glasses and cat ears, a tiara-wearing noble and her guard. Ruby bows, but the princess demands she drop the formalities. The annoyed blonde demands to know why the princess is here, but a follower already inside claims the reason is obvious. The witch expected another rejected invite, but the princess arrived for a different reason. Rumors about Rubia were spreading through the castle. Arlie's famous witch adopted a stray bird and roamed the streets buying men's clothes and gear. Sho bursts in, confirming the rumors and stunning the girls. He awkwardly offers tea, clueless about the bird nickname and totally lost for words. Ruby is annoyed by the girls' petty gossip and feels bad for wasting the princess's time, but the princess just wanted to visit her on her way home. Sho brews and serves the guests tea. He introduces himself as Rubia's student, but his bizarre name immediately catches the princess's attention. Ignoring the chaos, he serves the princess rare foreign sweets, leaving her stunned as she mistakes the dessert for beef. Instead, Sho offers the princess chocolate, promises it's delicious, and tells her to take a bite. Rubia and the princess warily taste the chocolate together, and their cheeks instantly flush. Blushing, they savor the sweet chocolate melting in their mouths. Rubia's never tasted anything this sweet. She stares at the boy, desperate to learn his chocolate-making secrets. Shaw explains chocolate, crushed nuts from the world's edge, mixed with sugar and kneaded smooth. The princess hesitated. Sugar was a rare, expensive luxury here. She asks for chocolate, but he's nearly out. The princess offers 3 gold coins for the rest. He's handed 3 gold coins. Since 2 silver coins cover a month's living at 100,000 yen, this 600,000 yen. Sho gets his 3 gold coins while the princess takes her chocolate. She regrets she can't invite Rubia to the castle, but the girl is rich now. The princess says goodbye and slams. Rubia and Shaw stared at the door until the princess called them to the courtyard. Why was she still hanging around? Intrigued by the strange device in the well, the princess asks for answers, and Sho explains it's a suction pump that pulls water from the depths. He demonstrates the pump, and the princess is stunned, convinced the flowing water is magic. It was a lie, just a cheap trick. The girl lifts the handle and the water flows instantly. The princess investigates the device, so the Shah hands her a bamboo water toy and demos how it works. The princess eyes the bamboo toy as the girl blasts a jet of water from it. Water blasts the cat maid, who meows and bolts. The princess keeps splashing as the maid scrambles for cover. He explains that plugging the hole stops the leak, but she realizes a hole on the other side would spray water right at her. She finally saw the trick. The pump creates a vacuum, forcing water up with every stroke, pure masterclass magic. The princess loved the buzzing pump and begged Sho to sell it again. Following her hint, the princess scales the lit well despite Sho's concern, standing tall on the cover as she finally recalls his name. Leela Farlane introduces herself, and Shaw's stunned. She's the head of state. Leela proudly invites Sho to her castle, demanding he accept. The carriage rolls out. Shaw sits in silence, replaying his talk with Layla. He warned her he's just a Rubia student, but she didn't care. She only needed his skills. Mastering those truths proved he was no student. She adds the state covers food and clothes plus 3 gold coins monthly. He's floored. That's 600,000 a month. The deal was perfect. He's sticking around this world. After all, cash is king. The boy accepts Layla's offer, but Ruby's shout stops him cold. She warns it's just an invitation. He doesn't have to say yes. The boy jumped at the deal. The terms were perfect. Leela would do anything for the show, leaving Rubia stunned. Layla threatens Rubia with an army, but the sorceress refuses. Now the princess demands Sho take her place. Rubia glares, and an awkward Sho calls for the master. Rubia lived near the castle, so Shaw could keep his student duties, but she wasn't having it. Ruby couldn't let her rookie students' dangerous Shaw-like views spiral, so she stepped in. If Sho hits the castle, Rubia is tagging along. The sorceress finally accepts the princess's deal. The carriage hits a rock, throwing everyone sideways. Sho's unlucky, slamming his head right into the window. Sho ignored the pain as Layla pressed against him with flushed cheeks. He spoke to check on her, leaving the princess totally flustered. Layla snaps back, pulls away blushing, and awkwardly insists she's fine, introducing her squad. Rumani's the maid with glasses and Mimu the cat-eared maid. 15-year-old Layla rules alone after a plague killed her parents. Shaken by recent events, she blames everything on a mysterious carriage. Crowned at 18, Layla's mastery and experience were so absolute that even the ministers couldn't stand in her way. Layla was small but strong. Another bump sent Shaw stumbling and the princess shot him a furious glare. The ride was brutal. The princess claimed it was standard, but it wasn't the road. The carriage was just way too stiff. Learning rigid carriages have axles fixed to the body, the princess is now obsessed with every other type. Shaw plans to upgrade the cart with suspension. Layla's clueless, but he ignores her, drawing a bow to see if the design exists. He sketches a matching piece to form a diamond, adding details to show how the mechanism expands and contracts just like the drawing. He mounts them over the wheels and drops the axle below, letting the suspension absorb every bump to keep the cart steady. He hyped his plan, but the girls just stared, stunned by his invention. Awkwardly, he didn't get their silence after explaining the suspension so clearly. Princess Layla bolts up, demanding someone call Russell. Maids scramble to calm the princess in the moving carriage, but Russell is gone, and Shaw demands to know who he is. Rumanies calls Russell a master craftsman. Inside the castle workshop, she calls out and Shaw answers instantly. Layla tells the boy to report the workshop pendant the second they reach the palace. They reach the castle and find a massive workshop where elves and dwarves forge inventions at a giant fireplace. Layla rushes to find Russell and suddenly the gray-haired man appears. It's him, answering her call and shocked to see the princess in his workshop. The man bows, noticing the girl's excitement. Layla stops Russell so she can show him something right away. A humming pump hits the workshop, drop it in a bucket, water flows instantly, and the workers are stunned by its efficiency. Russell hypes the pump's success, but the princess already knows it's a winner. He explains his bamboo pump, but needs iron to stop it from breaking. The man realized the boy was right, that iron device will last over a decade. The price was steep, but Princess Layla didn't care about the cost. Layla ordered Russell to forge an iron pump prototype, but she wasn't finished yet. Layla asks Russell for a suspension carriage and explains the tech. He sold, this thing will make a fortune. She knew the nobles would pay a fortune for a new high-speed carriage, and she was thrilled. The suspension looks like a diamond, but it's actually just different-length boards glued together. Russell asks why use mixed boards instead of one, and Sean realizes he's sharp. The man explains resonators like jumping on a branch. The more you bounce, the more it sways. Russell gets it, he played like that as a kid. Shu explains that swinging too hard snaps a branch, but boards of different lengths spread the load to prevent breakage. Sho wants a strong steel suspension, but it's too hard to craft, so he's told to use high-quality copper instead. He grins, suggesting swappable parts to double their profits. Layla's stunned. Layla praised his performance, stunned by his sharp intuition. He just grinned at the princess's compliment. Shu upgrades the stroller with adjustable front wheels. It's a tougher build, but way more comfortable. The workshop crew got the boy's plan. His design made the carriage steer way easier. The ride's better and the craftsmen are hyped. They instantly get his vision and want to master the new cart design. He heads to the workshop. Sho beams at the hut, finally a place of his own. Layla promised him the castle's best gear and craftsmen. She's counting on him, so he heads straight to work. Dwarves man the castle forge for metal gear, while elves handle the fine crafts and painting. Wood floods the materials department, but iron is a rare, high-value find. He scours the castle and hits the maid's room, spotting Rumanies and a thrilled new Omi. Sho finds the master's office where Rubia is late and unpacking. He offers to help, but she refuses, needing to organize her own gear to keep track of it. Rubia confirms another master is in the castle, an elven master of true teaching. The boy's hyped to finally meet a real elf. Rubia gets in Shaw's face, warning him the elf is ancient and to stay away from the master. Ruby's warning only fueled Shaw's curiosity to find real elves, but then he spots a Dorajara. Intrigued, he approached the glowing room, but as he stepped inside, clicking heels rang out. An angry shout startles the boy. He spins to face an irritated elf who mistakes him for an imperial. The elf glares, still suspecting he's an imperial spy, while Sho is stunned by her height. He stared at the elephant, hearing elves grow forever and hit 2 meters after 1,000 years. The boy realized this was Rubio's master. The elf glared, still suspecting a spy. He panics, swearing he's no spy, just Master Rubia's student. The girl's mood flipped. She grabbed Sho's chin, inspecting him curiously. Hearing Rubia took a student, the elf was hooked on his look. She checked on Ruby, feeling rude for ignoring her colleague. The elf learns his master stayed to prep for the move, while the girl demands to know why Rubia's student skipped the greeting. Sho's busy but promises to visit later. The mess isn't fixed and the elf is still furious with her. She shoves him into her office. Realizing he's clueless about her link to Rubia, she lets him take the fall for her master's rudeness. He wonders who the elf is, so she introduces herself as Stella, claiming any true student of Ruby would already know her. He introduces himself as Rubia's student, then nervously pulls a gift from his jacket to mark their meeting. He finds the perfect gift, 2 red berries. To her, they're a treasure. Stella was stunned by the gift, a rare, ruby-colored fruit worth a fortune. The girl awkwardly grabs the gift, faking interest. Stella seats the man as the elf preps his pico drink. She hands him the drink, and Sean realizes it looks and smells exactly like coffee. He tried the pico, it was perfect with deep aroma and bitterness, but he still missed his world. Hooked on pico, the boy wanted more. It's easy to find but pricey, so Della promised to show him her favorite city shop. She suddenly pivots, demanding his true identity, but Sho just stares back, totally clueless. He claims he's just a student, but Stella isn't buying it. His elite manners and education are strictly for royals, nobles, and the rich. No boy matched his description. Sho was stunned she knew every peer, but Della memorized them all as elite clients. He claims he's from an unknown land, but Stella isn't buying it. He blamed the sea and went silent. She hated his cryptic answer. Shaw hid the truth, warning Stella that curiosity leads to destruction. Shu knew being Rubia's student intrigued Stella, but he shut her down. They weren't close enough for this talk. Stella just scowled. She shares proverbs from her world, realizing ignorance really is bliss. Stella pivots, eyeing the lil merchberries and asking where he found such rare, bright red fruit. Shaw found them in the forest. Stella realizes he saw the flowers too, and after he confirms it, she stashes the berries in her box. The boy sketches a white 5-petaled flower on the board, spawning a crimson fruit. Sho is stunned by its beauty. Stella spots the legendary flower in the boy's sketch, so Sho suggests they find them. The boy leads the way, unsure if they've bloomed yet. Stella blushes, stifling a laugh at Sho's clueless face. He doesn't even realize what he just said, proving he's a total outsider who understands nothing. It's a miracle the show featured Lil Merch's flowers. The boy knew, but the flowers wilted fast. Stella explained that calling for help was impossible, but Sho was completely clueless. Stella's words finally clicked. He flushed with shame, and Shaw remembered Ruby's shock when he promised they'd stay together until the flowers bloomed. It all clicks. He turns beet red, realizing Ruby's weird look was because Stella knows he's the one who talked. Shaw fumbled for an excuse, but Stella stood and dropped her cloak. The elf was ready to speak. Stella approaches. His tone proves Sho and Rubia aren't together. She lifts his chin, leaving Sho staring back awkwardly. Stella teases she'll give him a shot, her gaze locking onto a stunned Sho. He snaps back, wondering why Stella chose him when she could have anyone. She grabs his hand, seductively whispering she's bored of every other man in the castle. Stella slams the boy onto the couch to force out his anti-magic, but the door suddenly bursts open. Rubia looms in the doorway, staring sadly as the boy stammers, "Master." She marches over and yanks the tangled pair right off the sofa. Blonde grabs his collar. She warned him to stay away, but he's crashed Stella's office anyway. Stella lunges into a tight hug, making Sho blush hard. Her seductive whispers leave him totally dazed. Stella keeps acting, approaching the round-eared boy to make him fall for her, but Rubia calls out. The sorceress orders Stella away, but the elf won't leave the boy. She's hooked and refuses to stop. Stella won't stop. He's calling her to the white flowers. The witch screams in total shock. Ashamed, Sho tells Stella the secret meaning of flower viewing Ruby taught him. Stella approaches the dazed boy, mesmerized by his unique light show. She claims he's unlike anyone else. They're a perfect match. Rubia cuts Stella off and snaps toward the elf. The duo watches in confusion as she trembles with raw emotion. Rubia nervously admits Shaw suggested the flower date, her face turning beet red as she shuts her eyes. Silence falls. Sho blushes, stunned by the confession, while Stella cackles at Rubia's naivety, leaving the Farlane witch bright red. Rubia snaps back, face red. At 24, she's a baby compared to 450-year-old Stella. Shaw stared in awe. Stella's actually 450 years old. This is the elven legacy. The boy stares at the frozen elf, stunned by its immortality, but Stella snaps, firing back about the weight of memory. Enraged, Stella tries to wipe his memory of her age, but he's shocked to resist her spell. The boy watches in terror as the dust clears, revealing a furious Stella. She recharges her magic, glaring. This time she won't miss. The boy screams as smoke pours from Stella's office. Layla rushes to investigate, but Sho stops her, warning that it's too dangerous inside. Shaw scooped up the girl, shocked by her weightless frame, and bolted from the office as Stella's scream echoed behind him. He finally breaks free from Stella and slumps against a wall, gasping for air. The princess realizes that even wise elves can lack common sense. Reaching the tower stairs, Leia excitedly promises him a stunning view from the top. Exhausted by the endless stairs, the man demands an elevator, a word Layla's never heard, instantly sparking her curiosity. He explains they'll hoist the cabinet up the tower with a rope, but someone has to pull. A weight heavier than Layla drops to pull the rope back up, and she finally gets how the elevator works. No power means they need raw muscle to move the elevator. It's their only choice, but he knows it's a terrible plan. One wins, the other loses. One's comfort is another's suffering. Sho and Layla reach the tower's peak. Sho admires the view as Layla admits the glowing city lights always lift her spirits. She knew her people and vassals put her here. Gazing away, the princess spoke. She knew the truth. Oversimplification breeds suffering, especially in the palace. When rulers cut corners, the people pay. At just 15, she already understood the world's harsh reality. Layla counts on Sho's genius to ace the festival and build their nation's future. Shu knew old-world tech could build the nation, but feared his progress would be branded heresy. Foreigners bring clues to his world. Meanwhile, Layla and Sha soak in the view. He calls the princess over, vowing to build a massive invention that'll enrich the entire kingdom. Farlin was a city-state. After 2 weeks in the castle, Sho finally reached his breaking point. Shu collapsed, stomach growling. Near tears, he'd give anything for a bowl of miso soup and onigiri. The boy heads out, hitting the bustling market near the castle. He scours the market for rice and miso, but finds nothing. He spots barley, but it's no substitute for rice. Shu finds a massive fish market. Preserving and shipping are standard, but slow transport makes fresh catches a rare sight. Soy sauce is a Japanese staple, and he needs glutamate to brew it. Shaw hits the seafood counter. The vendor offers help, but Shaw's request for dried seaweed leaves him stunned. The seller digs through his gear and pulls out seaweed, unsure if it's even the right item. The seller trashes the moldy white seaweed, but Shaw's stunned. It's actually top-tier quality and packed with flavor. He buys the dried fish instantly, snags free seaweed, and the seller happily hands over the goods. Bag in hand, he heads home stoked to unpack his haul: cereal, veggies, and all the essentials. First up, I'm making kelp broth using a recipe from my world. He shreds the seaweed and douses it in boiling water. Sprinkle some salt and the soup's ready. The boy dives in for an eager taste. Incredible, the soup tasted exactly like the seaweed from his world. The soup tastes like home, reminding him of his mom. She's probably worried sick. Unsure if the world survived or why only he blacked out when the light vanished, he distracted himself with more food experiments. Hand-grinding barley is a nightmare, so he grabs a workshop water wheel to mechanize the whole process. He built a water-powered thresher to automate the barley harvest. The mechanized mortar cleaned the grain instantly, yielding a perfect crop. Sho cooks the barley and takes a bite. It smells weird but tastes great. It's just way too dry for tortillas. Next day, Sho starts his dream task, making his first batch of isekai miso. Rubia eyes the boy suspiciously. He's plotting again. Sho is ready to prove his world-changing first move to his mentor. Miso's made from soy. He finds the beans, but they look nothing like the ones back home. Salt is easy to find, but with no rice, he swaps rice malt for barley to make barley miso. Miso takes ages, but magic makes it a breeze. He dives in, ready to retry until it's perfect. The boy waters the barley, then flash heats it with magic. He uses a magic microwave to blast his tools at 100 degrees. Sterilization is vital, one microbe and it all breaks down. He portions the barley and uses magic to force growth, but Ruby spots mold and warns him the dish is ruined. Shaw calms her, explaining the yellow spots are sesame mold, a mutated version of the white mold found in Japan. This is enough. Koji's almost ready. Soon, the sorceress catches a sweet scent from the grain. Aroma hits, the beans are re-steamed and mashed in a magic microwave, then Shaw and Rubia hand-mix the salt and malt. They roll them into balls. Ruby's suspicious, but he swears fermentation will make this inedible mess delicious. They toss everything into a sterile jar and seal it tight. The spell fast-tracks the fermentation to 1 hour. The guy sits on the floor, Rubia sips tea, and everyone waits for the results. Magic slashes a year of cooking into 1 hour. Sho pops the lid and inhales the perfect miso aroma. The isekai miso is ready. The boy's hyped, but Ruby's suspicious. She's never heard of it. In the castle courtyard, Ketir'd maid Nimue sweeps while tracking a sweet scent from the Shaw house. He serves her pork miso soup, a dish from his homeland she's never seen, brewed with kombu and dried fish. He preps miso soup with potatoes, onions, and carrots, no radish though. He pairs it with barley rice and fried meat to complete the meal. He plates the food, steam filling the air. Sho adds the chopsticks, now it's a real Japanese feast. Weeping over his meal, the boy tastes the spirit of Japan and tells Rubia to dig in, but she's terrified of the unknown food. A knock hits Sho's door. It's the new maid, lured by the smell and asking what's cooking. He offers her a taste, and the maid is instantly stunned by his cooking. Nemu's disgusted, mistaking the barley for insect eggs and the miso for murky water. Sho refuses, claiming it's just pig soup. Suddenly, Stella bursts in and the elf calls his name. Layla joins Stella and the boy greets them. Stella's starving and a delicious aroma hits both girls. Uninvited guests didn't scare him, he'd prepped a feast. The smell would lure them in, and whether they liked it or not, he fed them. One taste later, Nisima's eyes light up as she devours the delicious meal. Watching her servant feast, Rubia dives in too. Rubia takes a sip and it's actually delicious. Stella's baffled, it looks gross but tastes amazing, and Layla's just as shocked. Princess Layla spots carrots in her soup. She hates their bitterness, but one bite shocks her, they're actually delicious. He explains alkali removal changed the flavor, using Kamado ash to kill the bitterness. Girls were stunned, they'd never heard of ash with these powers. After explaining how to remove bitterness, he hands Naomi a regular carrot. She takes a bite and immediately cringes at the bitterness. Sho soaked the carrot in lye water and used magic to speed up the reaction. Naomi bites a soaked carrot and freezes. The bitterness is gone, replaced by a sweet flavor so good the maid thinks it's magic. He disagrees, magic only speeds it up, you can still brine carrots overnight without it. Stella's stunned, the meadow's gone. The elf stands up and thanks the boy for the meal. Hunger satisfied, Stella targets her next craving. She rushes the boy, making him turn beet red. Nimu watches, ears twitching with hype. If Stella can do it, she can too, and she pounces on the guy. They're knocked onto the bed, Stella and Nemo landing right on the guy. The elf reveals she's a threesome veteran who loves it when a beastman joins in. Nothing happens. Rubia glares at the boy, staff in hand. He panics and bolts, but someone grabs his hand. Princess Layla hugs the boy, teasingly asking for a post-dinner treat. Sho freezes, face turning beet red. Sho snaps back, confused by Princess Layla's rage until he realizes she wants chocolate, but he's fresh out. Layla can't forget that chocolate taste, but then the boy calls out, asking her for sugar. Layla snaps at his question. Sugar is a luxury and she refuses to be a greedy noble. She shoves him away, claiming she has duties, then breaks down in tears. The princess fakes tears, blaming the sold goods for the mess. Stella and Numi blast the boy while Rubia watches and Sho cringes in shame. Layla stops crying and demands a plan. Sho has no choice but to obey. Smirking, she recalls his vow. Sho's trapped promises made before royalty are final. Everyone clears out. Alone at night, Sho's stumped by the chocolate disaster until he realizes he can just swap the sweetness for syrup. Barley malt sugar, once used for drinks. Sprouting barley releases enzymes that turn starch into sugar. Syrup on set won't last. Layla will be demanding real chocolate again in no time. Cocoa doesn't exist in this world. Sho's never heard of it, so he's hunting for a substitute. He remembers reading that roasted spiders taste like chocolate. A South American delicacy, this should be delicious. Sho remembers the waterfall spider bite that nearly ended him, and he's terrified his enemy will use it. The boy enters the office and asks Rubia, who's reading a scroll, if the spider lives by the waterfall. She confirms it. These spiders hunt near water, lurking by reservoirs. Sho understands, but Ruby's suspicious. What's he planning this time? Bazian cheerfully tells his mentor he wants to eat the spider. Stunned, the sorceress asks again, but he doubles down. Pale with shock, she covered her mouth and asked if he even knew that spider's name. He stared at her, confused, but she stayed silent. She talked him into eating the spider, then warned him its head and chest were poisonous. The boy dived deep into the forest to hunt the spider that attacked him. Sho hunted for a spider. Once beaten by a level 1 slime, he's now a confident mage hunting spiders for sport, until Russell suddenly ambushes him from the bushes. A spider appears just like the waterfall one, but so massive it's practically a crab. Shu glared at the spider. The one that bit him was tiny compared to his own size. He's easy to destroy, just blast him with heat magic. He remembered dead crabs reek, and the Sho hates the smell. This spider looked exactly like a crab from an urban legend. Instead of warming the spider, he froze it solid. Magic makes the spider easy work. Sho freezes it solid, laughs as he bags the beast, and heads home. Shaw catches 3 giant spiders in the woods and ropes their limbs together. He used magic to warm them up. The spider's shell turns from chestnut to purple. He isn't hungry, but it's finally cooked. Shaw carves up the spider, harvesting its paralyzing venom to use as a makeshift anesthetic. Shaw cuts the poison out and cracks a leg. The meat looks like king crab, likely safe, but he still eyes it with caution. He tripped and bit his flesh, loving the taste. Better than crab, Shaw now craved crab fried rice. He calms down. It wasn't just for the crab meat. He tastes the spider's belly fluid, bitter as coffee. Back at the office, he shows Rubia the finished chocolate, and it looks way better than Coco's. She realizes the chocolate is made of spiders. He's about to take a bite, but she screams in terror for him to stop. The crowd glares at her scream, but Rubia doesn't mind the spider chocolate. As a scientist, she has to verify it herself. Rubia blushed in shame and forced herself to take a bite, but her face instantly lit up. The chocolate was pure bliss. Rubia loves the new chocolate, but when Sho reveals the secret is spider belly fluid, the witch screams in horror. Shaw blends the liquid with malt syrup and heats it to release the scent. It's too thin, so he adds milk fat. Fresh cream and butter make this chocolate beat store-bought, but Rubia is too busy eating to listen. Exiting the office, the boy warns her the chocolate is unsafe. Don't eat it. Sho heads to the princess to report on the prep. Nate enters the throne room and offers Layla his chocolate. She's impressed, and he brings the treat right to her. Sho says the ingredients are rare, so when the princess asks for a substitute, he pulls out a spider. Layla nearly faints, but the maids catch her. The boy learns the spider's name as the furious princess demands to know why it's purple. Monster parts in medicine are standard. The princess stalls, Rumens moves to arrest you, and the maid steps up to taste the chocolate first. Rumenes loved the rich sweetness and couldn't stop. Seeing her joy, Layla wanted a taste too. Rumini pales, gasping as the labyrinth shifts and panic strikes. Sho catches the fallen maid while the crowd panics. Rumenes leans in seductively, asking to be called Rumi, leaving a blushing Sho totally stunned. Flushed and panting, she calls Sean seductively from her knees, and he finally realizes what's happening. He ditched the girls and bolted to his master, trusting Rubio's magic to neutralize any poison in the chocolate. He bursts into her room, yelling for the master, but finds her collapsed on the floor. Gasping like Rumenesis, she eyes him seductively, her body flushed red from the chocolate's effect. Sho sees the witch and gets a nosebleed. Gasping, the girl can't believe he made her eat it. Her scream echoed through the castle, calling him a fool. Back in the throne room, his overpowered chocolate worked. Even the master couldn't resist, leaving a fresh mark on his cheek. Layla's hyped to mass-produce the chocolate, but the boy's horrified by the danger. Without an antidote, people would pay a fortune for this chocolate, and the princess knew it. Back at the workshop, Russell happily devours the cooked spider. He's watched spiders since childhood, never realizing he'd missed out on such a delicious meal. The man praises the boy's spider food genius. Chocolate is mastered, now it's time for mass production. He tells the boy they've hit a turning point, and he's right. A ladder appears in the empty field, heaven or hell, he has no idea. The craftsman weighed the words, certain Far Taklung would be the world's center. Their invention was one of a kind. Sho loved the recognition, but massive hurdles lay ahead. Russell's confused, so Sho reveals the real crisis: fuel. They need it to build and ship their invention globally, but they're stuck with just wood and coal. Quality coal is scarce. As the city's population explodes, a fuel crisis looms. Arline's forests are packed with wood, but logging won't fix this. Cutting the forest takes centuries to fix. This desertification is how entire cities were swallowed by sand. He learns the forest has shrunk massively since Layla was a kid. Trees were cut for fuel, but Far Lane's mild winters meant they weren't needed for heat. The forest provided everything: firewood for cooking and baths and charcoal for the forge. As the city expands, the population booms and fuel needs skyrocket. No coal or oil exists here. The craftsman shrugs off the damage of deforestation, but Sho isn't having it. Fertile land, rain, and climate, forests provide it all. They're massive reservoirs storing the water we need. Easy money ruins nations. Shaw's words stun the men as the dark-haired boy looks ahead. Shaw reaches the tower's peak, overlooking Farley alone. Finally calm, he pulls out his phone. He aimed for a shot of Far Lane's view, sure of success, but his phone died. He needed fuel, coal, oil, electricity. Then a spark, use magic to power the show. Next day, the boy's hyped. He's got a plan and unleashes his magic at the show. Once he gets an idea, he has to try it out. Joe casts a spell, drying the stream by the workshop. Artificial wind from the turbine. He wanted a garden, but it would kill the air pressure. Surrounded by steam, he casts a spell to drop the pressure, his magic churning the air. Sky turns black and lightning strikes. The boy's thrilled but snaps back and kills the spell before things get lethal. He slams an iron rod into the ground, regretting his haste. Inside the show house, he unleashes magic, instantly summoning a massive lightning storm. Lightning strikes the rod. Using magic and an ally to form a cloud pillar, he charges the bolt in 1 minute, hitting a 100-meter radius, his absolute limit. Shaw nears the impact site, hit by a lethal stench of ozone. A strong current is key. Funnel it through a T-shaped gap and the show is a go. As he crafts a T-pole, Ruminus approaches. Show spots a girl in his doorway. The maid says Nemo's terrified of the thunder and came to check on her. He owned his mistake, admitting he was experimenting with magic. They head out for his final experiment. Romanese is worried, but Show plans to use lightning to melt the iron rods. Explanation over. Shaw summons lightning. He doesn't need chance, but with a girl watching, he has to show off. Rumides screams in terror, completely overwhelmed. Approaching the bars, the boy knows he's won. With lightning under his command, he can melt anything. A hailstorm hits. Furious, Layla bans the boy's lightning experiments inside before Shaw wrecks the castle. Upset he couldn't master the magic experiment, he realized why the master fled to the forest. Prepping for experiments, he crafts a plate with a shrinking hole. He jams a copper rod into the plate. Since copper's soft, pulling it through the hole thins it into wire. Joe couldn't believe this thin wire was handmade, but he'd seen enough. He used magic to soften the wire, but the insulation meant to stop shorts was failing. No vinyl exists here, so he wraps it in paper coated with nakava and oil. Heard paper beats vinyl, but I wasn't sure if it was true. Leather-wrapped copper wire, he's finally got a real one. Move count mattered, but this was just an experiment. Next day, Numi hides behind a pillar and nervously asks about the thunder. Shaw reassures her, banned from castle experiments, he moved to the forest. Numi understands, but shyly admits she's still scared of him despite his kindness. The boy asks if the maid also protects the princess, and she confirms it. He tested her. Numi must deliver a vital message while bandits strike with lightning magic. If she runs, she's fired, and Numa was livid. Unsure, Numi shyly agrees to the show's plan. Watch lightning magic experiments to get used to the power. They hunted for a wide riverbank while Nim trailed behind, screaming for the showmaster to slow down. He used a weight loss spell to gain insane speed. Only Nim could hit those speeds without magic. Beastmen are built different. They tie the spool to a post and ground the wire to slow it down, ordering the girl to keep her head down. Unlike normal magic, this mimics nature. It's uncontrollable and strikes completely at random. Stay back or get blasted. Magic lightning strikes and the guys shout, "It's starting." Lightning strikes the coil and Nim blares. They cheered as the plan worked, lightning tearing through the edge of reality. Their coil bursts into flames. Num spots it, but Nim panics, screaming at the host to prove he saw it too. Sensing lethal danger, the master bolts. One fire here spells total ruin. With no way to stop it, the entire kingdom is doomed. Fire hits the brush. Show tries cold magic, but it fails. He needs a better way to kill the blaze. He creates a vacuum to choke out the oxygen. The ember died, trailing smoke. Show exhaled. They'd nearly torched the entire forest. Nim sadly admits she's still scared of thunder, but Master turns back, calmly promising she'll adapt soon. Fire's out, but he still doesn't know if the experiment worked. He draws his blade, eyes the spool, and fuses the metal into his sword. The Master cheers. It worked. The spool part magnetized, snapping right onto the sword's steel. The magnet was weak and died fast. Steel can't be permanent, and he's crushed. Shu figures out magnets, but Nim watches from behind, certain it's all for nothing. Master turned and laughed, saying every failure brings them closer to success. Magnets failed, but Sho saw magic's potential. The right combo changes everything, and that's a win. Silent magic isn't flashy, but it's lethal early on. With everything scorched, she tells him it's time to head back for lunch. Starving, they hit the castle shops. A woman hands Pico the show, and he thanks her. Compass proves a rare stone is here, but even the queen's gold can't buy it. Sho needs cobalt or neodymium for a super magnet, but finding and refining them is a mystery. Iron platinum alloys are his only backup. In my past life, I learned platinum alloys were the ultimate magnets for high-end audio before neodymium took over. Sho knew gold, silver, and copper, but platinum and lead were total mysteries he didn't even know existed. Magnets in coils build a motor and generator, finally unlocking arc welding to replace that risky lightning. Sho's hyped controlled welding will blow his combat options wide open. Screams erupt from the alley as someone begs to be left alone. Sho's confused, thinking it's just a fight. Three guys corner a girl in an alley, screaming that she's finished. Irritated, she draws her sword. Pigtails, gloves, Sho realizes she's the queen's personal bodyguard. Three guys harass a girl, and Sho watches, disgusted by their behavior. The thug snarls that silence would have saved them, while Sho eyes Mizuki's useless, panicked bodyguard. Raincoat guy mocks her as a royal servant and tells her to vanish. She stays silent, hand tight on her sword. Weeks ago, the queen introduced Mizuki as the carriage inventor. She soon met a traveler and shared her passion for the ride. She loved it. Carriage rides usually drain her, but this one's so smooth she's already nodding off. Mizuki's sure it's a hit, but Sho spots a flaw. The carriage bounces on every bump. He couldn't find soft wheel materials, but his goal was a horseless carriage, and the queen was stunned. Her Majesty laughed, praising his mastery and planning to profit from the models, while Sho awkwardly agreed. Mizuki pauses, noticing the queen and host are hitting it off. The queen laughs. She's right, he's her top specialist. Shu hits up Mizuki for work and trip talk, and she's down. Walking the hall, he realizes she's from the Great Cameo Empire. She confirms it and starts her story. The Great Cameo Empire is a massive nation ruling the lands east of the distant strip. Sho didn't understand why he left. Mizuki struggled to process it, and the boy apologized for his rude first impression. Mizuki tells him they've met before in Rubia while she served the queen, leaving Sho completely stunned. Blushing and hesitant, he asks Mrs. Mizuki to see her sword, drawn in by its bizarre shape. Mizuki'll check it out, but warns it's no sacred blade. The blades clashed, leaving Sho stunned. The girl overpowered the fading attacker as the boy watched, jaw dropped. He looked for a way to help. Mizuki was elite, but 3-on-1 was impossible. Suddenly, a blade flashed. The girl gasps as blood spatters the stone street. Unable to watch, the Sho shouts her name, warning her of the sneak attack. A bullet spins in the boy's hand, blinding 3 men and forcing them to hide. Shu erupts in light, catching Mizuki's eye as the men recognize him as the scholar. The bearded man yells for his crew to run. Sho and Mizuki watch them flee in silence. Drenched in sweat, his air magic bluff worked, but he's toast in a real fight. Snapping out of his daze, he rushes to Mrs. Mizuka's side to check on her. The girl clutches her bleeding shoulder. Sho yells she's bleeding. He has to stop the flow now. Against the wall, Sho patches her wound, using a twig to secure the dressing. He grabs Mizuki and bolts for the castle. The master can heal her. They reach the master's house. Mizuki's sick in bed, but the doctor refuses to help. With the master away gathering herbs, Sho begs Stella for help, but Trudy snaps that she's not a doctor. Unable to convince Stella, he begs her to save Mizuki before she vanishes forever. He begged her through tears. Stella's condition: spend the night with her and she'll consider it. He agreed to everything, but Stella felt he thought forced consent satisfied her pride. Sho apologized, braced for anything. Stella smiled, rushed to Mizuki, and chanted a healing spell. Mizuki's wound vanishes instantly. She wakes up, apologizes to Stella, and warns that moving will restart the bleeding. Stella walks away, abandoning the empire. Mizuki panics and calls out, but Sho can't understand the source of her burning hatred. She agrees, thanking him for saving her life. He says it was nothing, he's just there to help. Mizuki goes silent, then finally calls him a good person. Shu cleans the apple, witnessing Stella's healing magic for the first time. He chants the spell and the wound instantly heals. Distracted, he slices his finger peeling an apple, yelps, and wonders if his magic can heal the wound. Sucking his cut finger, Sho realizes the body is just chemical reactions. If magic accelerates plant growth, it'll work on humans too. Monsters rarely strike, but across every world, restoring lives is the hardest part. With thugs everywhere, Sho needs basic attack and healing magic to survive. He pulls his finger out, brings the knife close, and slices his wound again. Blood drips onto the table, staining his freshly cleaned apples. He looks insane, but it's pure science. Magic triggers growth, forcing skin to knit and heal the wound. He glared at his finger, fuming. The wound was deeper and blood was gushing out. He used magic to speed up the healing chemistry, but even that failed. It wasn't that simple. He triggers double activation, boosting growth and reaction as the wound starts to heal. Double casting demands insane focus. It's like juggling multiple conversations without losing the thread. The bleeding wouldn't stop. Annoyed, he forced more magic, face dripping with sweat from the strain. The massive wound seals shut, leaving only a scar and a drop of blood. Sho roars, he's done it. He leans back and exhales hard, finally catching his breath after being so focused he forgot to. He only uses mind magic. Sorting his thoughts will make his power explode. Magic is basically a program chaining spells together. He didn't even realize when the regeneration stopped. Spellbound meat won't revert to a cow, multiply, turn to fertilizer, or rot. Magic only closes wounds, borrowing life force to speed up healing. Joe knew the flesh wouldn't heal without life force to borrow, staring down the roasted remains. Heart stops, blood stalls, oxygen dies. Once cell energy hits zero, there's no coming back. Animals heal slow, but plants are relentless. Chop them to bits and they still grow back, even forgotten fridge scraps sprout. Steak finished, he realizes plants are cloned for quality. He bolts up, slams the table, and heads to the greenhouse to check his flowers. Vanilla orchid caught his eye. He grew vanilla from the master's seedlings and realized his regeneration magic could clone orchids too. He had to try. He grabbed a sheet of paper and shredded it into bits. Drop a leaf in sterile water, use magic to multiply the tissue, and space them evenly until they fuse into a white mass. Shoots sprout, a massive leaf bursts forth, and the boy cheers. He's finally healed. Now he could clone rare plants and get infinite vanilla beans, cackling like a total evil genius. He laughed until he blacked out and collapsed, his magic clearly pushed past its limit. Back home, he's focused on a detail when a voice calls out it's her. He spins around, stunned to see her there. She realized he was doing something incredible again, but he just shrugged it off as nonsense. He figured things were finally looking up. Nim asked Mr. Shaw to visit Onion Coppen again, but he had no clue what that even was. He says it's a fluffy, cheerful place that smells amazing. Sean and Nim walk a quiet city street, the area deserted. He heads back to her trying to understand. It's fluffy and smells delicious. Nim mentions her mom's new shop. Surprised, the man asks for more details. They reach the house and Nim points out the shop, Cognon Kapon, the Beast's Diner. The bell rings for new arrivals as the packed cafe buzzes with drinks and chatter. Nim warns the visitors are all beast folk, hoping shows humanity isn't an issue, but the girl welcomes him warmly. Nima's mom Nina was thrilled to meet him, already knowing he was a legendary scientist. She's his mother, and Sho introduces himself as the master's uncertified student. To become a certified master, he needs the Imperial University, but he doesn't care. A title won't change his path. The diner spots a master, but he's totally clueless about the joke or the sudden attention. Then he serves their signature meatball soup. He grabs a spoon, instantly hooked by the incredible broth. She says the fish is stewed whole, using spices to kill the odor and enrich the meat. Nim told her mom about the chef's soup. He realized it was made for animals, but she laughed and called it delicious. Someone grabs the boy's shoulder and calls for Shaw as cat girls swarm him. He's totally lost. The cast claimed they were his kind. One girl confirmed it, another wanted the host. He thought they liked scientists, but his gut told him otherwise. Blonde Cat drops rumors the owner's a demon. He's baffled, but the girls claim he's the master who created spider chocolate. They tried recalling the spider chocolate, but after one incident, it was secretly sold as a health tonic for the sick. The merchant whispered a secret: use this and every girl will be yours. Vulgar ads are driving massive sales and hype. Catgirl says Nim liked the host. The showmaster invented a pump she uses daily, making her life way easier. He's relieved. He once served the master, but hauling well water was brutal. She keeps asking, but the pump's water is a total mystery. Others agree it makes zero sense. She hit up the host to see if he'd pull off another miracle. Nim interrupts, revealing the host is secretly building a horseless carriage. Confused by the horseless carriage, the girls assumed it was magic. He says no, it's logic, not magic. She's stunned, but he doubles down instantly. He showed off a toy he made mid-show. The cat girls were clueless, but the audience demanded a reveal. A toy car with a heavy flywheel. It stores energy so it keeps rolling even after you let go. This machine swaps hands for a motor and runs on just 2 wheels. I wondered how it'd drive, then he gunned it across the floor. He lets go, showing off its movement. The invention rolls across the floor, instantly hooking the girls. Cat girls lunge for the typewriter, shocking the boy as they trash the room and dive under tables to hunt the machine. He told the girls to calm down, but a confused Ninny stepped into the hall. Cat claims their bodies move on instinct. Ninny says that's exactly why they fail, but Sho is totally lost. She warns they'll fail if they keep jumping people. One stray rat distraction and they're dead. He remembered Nim didn't attack, she just wagged her tail. Nina credits her training and says she's proud of her. Browsing the market, Shaw hunts for spices. He approaches a stall, noting the unique selection as the shopkeeper turns to face him. I had to verify his skills, especially since he's got rare ores. He hands him a stone, noting Shaw fell for its ordinary look. The ore snaps to the blade, a natural magnet. Show's hooked. It's incredibly rare, yet costs less than a single gold coin. He offered to buy her instantly, stunning the merchant. Show feared she wasn't for sale, but he wanted her specifically. The seller apologized for the insane price, but the man just added another item to his haul. The boy points at dried slime, a delicacy of the deep. Nim's shocked, but he's already paying. The crew hits the workshop. Nim, a regular, approaches the master, stunning the worker unpacking bags. He prepped the kitchen and offered to cook. She instantly agreed. Gears cover the table. Nim's already fast asleep, so the man gets back to work. Everything's ready, he shouts, whipping out a hand mixer. Like a toy car, crank the handle to charge the flywheel, and inertia keeps the whisk spinning solo. Nim wakes up confused, so he explains he's whipping up meringue, a word she's never even heard of. She's stunned by the instant fluff, white, soft, and delicious. He suggests making his just as fluffy. Centrifuged cream sat on the table, ready for a quick hand whip. The girl confronts the host about the slime, unaware it's actually deadly poison. Organs are lethal, but the clear body is safe, just like a jellyfish. Reheat it, let it cool, and it sets like jelly. Mix meringue, slime, cream, and vanilla pods. This semi-frozen blend looks like NATO and cranks up the flavor. Pour, cool, and serve. NATO's otherworldly slime mousse is ready. Stella and Rubia burst in, the healer demanding Shaw fetch something sweet. He says it's almost ready, thinking they mistook the place for a cafe. 3 girls dive in but have no clue what they're eating. Cool, fluffy, and delicious. Show calls it mousse, but he goes dead silent when asked about the secret ingredient. The secret ingredient is slime. The girls are horrified, but the guy's never actually seen one. Stella hates the delicacy, but Shaw's just happy she liked it. Rubio freezes in shock. Stella calls it a bad reaction. She stopped breathing, but she's still clutching her spoon of mousse. Stella calls out Rubia's food prejudice, and Shaw awkwardly admits she's right. Rare fish, veggies, or dishes, she sees them and instantly asks, "Can I eat this?" Shaw wants them to learn from the Japanese. They eat everything. Stella didn't recognize the scent. It wasn't slime, so she guessed vanilla while the boy called it an orchid. The girl used it for scent, so Show suggests making perfume, leaving a shocked Stella questioning him. He suggests dissolving the perfume in alcohol and bottling it to enjoy the scent anytime. Stella lunges for a kiss, but Rubelia wakes up. Shaw turns to her, stunned and relieved she's alive. She denies it but demands perfume for forgiveness. Next day, screams fill the workshop as everyone calls his performance trash. He knew she meant Stella's perfume. The evil queen confirmed she loved it, but Shaw claimed he made them for her personally. She sniffs her hair, hoping he finds it sweet. He loves the scent, calling her Your Majesty. She tells him to call her Lilo, but he's too shy. Noticing the crowd, she pouts in frustration. Shaw shared her isolation, hating the master title himself. In private, he just calls her Leela. He checks the fit. Layla agrees, then Show turns back. He just remembered something. She's confused, but he asks if the chocolates sell. She confirms they're a total hit. Spider chocolates cost 2 gold coins each, and rumors say kings and merchants are snatching them all up. People vanish from overeating these chocolates. The boy repeats the rumor, doubting Leela's claim that everything is normal. Every pig and old man on his hit list is already in hell. This was his plan all along. Show awkwardly agreed, never expecting such a massive impact. Leela calls him cute, lunges into his arms, and laughs. She looks sweet but played dirty, a political genius who had Shaw sweating bullets. Months into this world, he's learned the truth. This civilization has been stuck like this for over 1,000 years. If this world is at a level, it could reach modern Japan in barely a century. Magic's the culprit. It's done science so hard they lack matches, let alone electricity. Magic stones ignite on impact, but they're so expensive that commoners can't even afford to light a candle. Shu builds a generator with a merchant's magnet. It lights a bulb, but it's too weak to charge a phone. He needed glass for the bulb, but the local supply was too impure. To get it clear, he'd have to make it himself. They hunt for materials. Glass needs quartz, and the riverbanks are loaded with it. Recreating this common glass is a nightmare without modern chemicals. He figures wood ash made those old crystal glasses. Lead makes glass crystal clear, perfect for the detector's scintillator. He knows the castle's materials department has exactly what he needs. Back at his table, Show carves a glass melting crucible from a solid block of quartz. He needs ash. He stacks firewood to boil in a magic cauldron until saturated. Magic boosts the sediment liquid into white powder. That's our potassium. Forget the name, we've got potash. Now crush that quartz so it dissolves faster. He swapped to metal tools, letting the water wheel automate the wheat grinding. He discovers magic heating and cooling cycles shatter quartz into tiny bits. He realized it again. Used right, magic makes any job way more efficient. Toss quartz shell and lead into the crucible, then hit the furnace. Lead melts first, but quartz won't budge. The forge just isn't hot enough for glass. He used magic to vibrate the molecules, cranking the heat. Quartz melts into a glowing orange liquid and gets poured onto a steel plate. Weight reduction magic has a catch. You gotta crush and stretch it with heavy magic. As it cooled, Sho noticed something off. The lead hadn't fully melted. He finally figures it out. Only yellowed lead melts, so they're only heating and picking the yellow pieces. Another trial run begins. He pours the liquid from the glass. He thought back and grinned. He'd done it. The glass was finally clean. Rough and impure, but it works. He can turn this into windows or simple dishes. Glass hardens fast, but magic keeps it hot for easy shaping. Glass is essential, so he builds a custom furnace to innovate. Next target, a light bulb. Time to start glass blowing. Mixing iron, bamboo, and castor oil, he thrusts the glass into the furnace, twists the stick, and blows. Shaw spends days crafting glass, but his bulb melts instantly. Realizing it's no easy task, he struggles to master the blowing technique, treating the craft like a simple math problem. Night falls as he keeps blowing glass to finish the bulb. He's been at it for days, and Stella and Rubia are totally clueless. Stella stared at her reflection, shocked to see an elf staring back. Ruby turned to the show, confused by the boards but noticing glass that felt like an invisible shield. Shaw rounds the corner, spots the Stellas, and explains his glass upgrades. He reveals it's a glass mirror. Seeing her reflection, Stella's completely stunned. Ju says they're right on time. He's got something to discuss. The boy unrolls a copper wire to explain, but Rubia recognizes it instantly. He needed a thin film. Paper was way too thick. Rubia used Nikava, knowing she'd fall apart if pushed too far. Stella suggests switching to insect wax. Ju asks again, and Rubia agrees. Gear up, they're hitting the woods now to catch him off guard. He knew the truth. The master was a scientist. Ruby says they're out of time. The insect wax works just like back home. He coats the wire perfectly, and with the master and Stella's help, the spool is complete. Tungsten was unavailable, so he crafted carbon thread from steamed, plain bamboo. Edison's first lamps used bamboo filaments. Stella thinks the vacuum is magic. He confirms it, and she demands to know what he's doing. He calls it a lamp, shocking the girls. Moving a magnet through the copper coil makes it light up. He moves the magnet and the bulb ignites. Just as promised, it works. Rubio's stunned, but Stella's left clueless. Shoving a magnet into a coil generates electricity, lighting the bulb. Rubia realizes it's not magic, and the boy confirms anyone can do it. Hook this to a water wheel or windmill for non-stop power, and the lamps will glow even brighter, but Stella spots a catch. The lights flash on, exposing him. Blushing, he begs Mrs. Stella to stop, but while dodging the girl, he accidentally scatters the magnets. Pentagon stone hits the lamp tablet. Show's jaw drops. The bulb is glowing without a magnet. Bringing the stone to the spiral triggers electromagnetic induction, lighting the bulb. Show's hooked on this new world. Ruby is awed by the glow. Stella feels an electric jolt, and Show knows magic stones store and blast pure power. He never expected the magic stone to generate electricity. Magnets need constant movement, but magic stones generate fields just by being close. Ju asks if magic stones wear out, but the girls never heard of it. He's shocked it's real, infinite green energy. Back home, this would have won him a Nobel Prize. Shaw hits the castle to show Queen Layla his new invention, and she's hyped to see his latest creation. Dead serious, he tells her, "Your Majesty, it's for sale." They enter the basement, but Layla has no clue why. Ju told her to grip it tight. She didn't recognize the object, but it was time to set the magic stone. She held a lantern lighting the basement, convinced this cool tool was pure magic. Shaw denies it, calling it a logical trick. Stick a copper plate and tin reflector into a bamboo tube, wire a coil to a bulb, and drop in a magic stone to spark electricity. She lights her face, thrilled to ditch the candles, while Show adds it's perfect for Layla's midnight bathroom runs. The Queen orders instant mass production. He accepts the task but has one condition, leaving the girl waiting in suspense for his request. He needs magic, crystal glass, and tons of fuel for the vacuum light. Mass production is coming, but it'll take time. He beams, leaving the rest to him. Shaw strolls through the city as a woman greets Mr. Scholar. He notes the nice day. While shopping, a man spots his mastery. He confirms it, and the guy points him to the best new blades. He forged this blade from scrap metal, claiming mastery, but admits he can't do it alone. Only dwarves know the true secrets of the forge. The merchant asks for a visit. Show laughs, promising to return while enjoying the perfect sun. Stretching, the boy heads down the street. He passes silent alleys, but a strange feeling starts to creep in. Result, he senses a presence and realizes he's being watched. He prays the bandits aren't back for revenge, left completely paralyzed and unsure what to do. Joe spots Mizuki's attackers tailing him, but he's ready with a classic trick to shake them. He bolts around the corner, waiting for his pursuer to show his true face. Suddenly, she trips over him and slams onto her back. Show's stunned, it's just a kid. They lock eyes in silence. The girl bursts into tears, wailing so loud it draws a crowd. Panicked, the boy begs her to stop, desperately claiming he's innocent. He nervously fumbles for a candy, hands it to the girl, and promises her something sweet. She quotes Maria's rule against taking things from strangers, making him realize he'd call the cops back home. The show assumed she didn't know the castle's chief scientist, but she reveals he's the host. He sighs in relief, she really knows him. She knows him, so he's no stranger, and he always gives friends sweets. She pauses, eyes sparkling, then grabs a candy. She loved the taste, and the boy revealed he made the fruit candy himself. She stays honest and takes nothing, terrified of being kidnapped and sold just like Maria warned. The boy behind her spots the item and warns her not to take things from strangers. She calls him a true master and takes his gear since they're close, while the crowd screams it's unfair. The cat boy claims he knows him, calls him old, and says he can't be fooled like his sister, but Shaw just finds it adorable. Shaw's shocked to find the beast man at the castle, realizing he's Nim's brother. His first demand, stop treating him like a cat. She bragged about her sweet brother, but he hates that label. He's the future family head, destined to get rich and support his mom and sister. He wept in the shower from pure joy, then decided to give him a sweet treat. Kids claim they help Maria daily, so the boy hands one to each of them. He was testing if they stalked people to see how close they could get. Lucky it was him, his master, or even their elf. He asks about his master, and the kids chant, she's a witch. I ask about the elf, and they shout, she's a destroyer. He's certain it's her. This elf is dangerous and unpredictable. He says a master turns the show into a magical experiment, while she warns it could become a real monster. He laughed, no smoke without fire. Keep playing games and their parents will be furious. Slumped on the stone, the kids stared in shock. They were orphans. Joe's shocked, but he heard a shelter here. Maria lived with 20 kids. Sho hated their risky games and offered a better way, and they were hooked. He carved wood into helicopters, stilts, and slingshots, crafting toys to match their every whim. Shaw saw magic in every child, using his scientific genius to fund their shelter. He arrived broke, but earning 3 gold coins a month plus invention bonuses. He's already saved 100 gold coins. Night falls, Sho tells the kids to move, promising a shelter if they laid. They instantly agree. A 2-story house appears and the kids shout they're home. They turn to Sister Maria, who welcomes them back without even looking. Maria finds a stranger with her kids while fetching water. He greets her, claiming they met in the city. She drops the rope, lunges into Shaw's arms, and sobs, calling him Mr. Zero. He's stunned by her move, but the kids tell Sister Maria it's a setup. This nobody is actually a true sage. She stares and blushes, realizing her mistake. She apologizes, but Shaw quickly tells her it's all good. He confirms it's Maria, and she shyly nods. A girl rushes up, shouting that Mr. Shaw made them tons of toys. She knows he cares for the kids, but since she can't repay him, she asks him to visit more often. Sho apologizes for eating them as Maria mentions the kids' excitement. She has everyone clap and shouts, Itadakimasu. Kids echoed their mentor in unison, but Sho was completely lost. Maria says Zero taught her Itadakimasu, a foreign way to give thanks for food. The boy stayed quiet, suspecting Zero was also Japanese, while the girl turned to Mr. Shaw. Regretting her snap judgment, she doubted he was a Zero. Sho saw a resemblance, but Maria disagreed. This guy was way braver. Maria sees a new look, but the same aura. Zero warns he'll change again next time, leaving Sho clueless about who he really is. She claims he saved her from terminal tuberculosis and even cured her lifelong blindness. Sho was stunned, still clueless about Zero. He questioned the girl's scholar mage skills and demanded the full story. She agrees, revealing it started at 12. Born blind and rejected by her family, Maria was sent to work in the Imperial Pavilion of the Night Sky. Infected by a guest and exiled from the Night Sky Pavilion, she wanders the streets only to realize she's literally disappearing. She sat in the dark by a massive tree, and I decided this was where she'd take her last breath. Shadow looms, offering her life. Thinking it's God, she answers, bathed in light. She accepted. Next time she woke, her cough was gone. Seeing her, Shaw felt like God had arrived, but her deal came with one condition. Master Zero says God doesn't exist. Anyone who thinks so is just fooled by advanced tech or a total fraud. He agreed, but what happened next? Zero told her to stay in the shelter. Life with him and the other kids was full of happy days. Then Master Zero announced he was heading back to a far-off land. Chasing him in tears, Zero said Maria would guard their bond. If it's real, they'll meet again. Shaw is stunned as Maria reveals the Zero represents a fateful soul connection. He knew it. Zero was Japanese. Blaha wasn't the only one from another world. Sure she'd see Master Zero again, she vowed to cherish their bond. The teacher died 2 years ago, and she hopes his legacy finally reaches these kids. Silence falls as he tells Maria he isn't Zero, but he'll do whatever it takes. The crew laid pipes, bringing running water straight into the house. He hands the kids water guns and Maria a new flashlight, shocking the girls. Shaw hands her coins. She tearfully thanks him, wondering how she'll ever repay his kindness. He used Russell to hire a carpenter for the repairs. He's stunned by the 80 gold reward, but safety is his top priority. Joe gets blindsided and hits the deck. He leaned in to inspect them. They were massive, bigger than the masters, but the girl warned he was bad. He tried to explain, but the stranger couldn't see what he was staring at. Silver hair, long ears, dark skin. Is he a dark elf? She throws another insult. She's fed up with his staring, but the show starts. He rushes off apologizing while she snaps that she's the one in a hurry. Next day, Shaw greets Nina at the diner, but he's shocked to learn someone's looking for him. The elf he fled waits at the table, glaring. He tries to mention yesterday, but she cuts him off with a shock apology, leaving him stunned. She came for the demon master, only to realize she'd already driven him away. Since he eats here often, she's waiting for his return. Shu awkwardly apologizes for staring, but Fei Fei brushes it off, introduces herself, and calls him a true master again. She grabs him, begging him to save her village, but he's totally clueless. Massive landslides buried the valley road to Fei Fei, cutting the Dark Elf village off completely. The Dark Elf village sits at the end of Felon's Western Canyon, and they've hitched a ride with a merchant to reach it. Everyone thought Dark Elves used magic. The girl confirms it, but that massive boulder makes them useless. Stunned by his massive size and totally lost, the boy seeks answers from a powerful mage. Fei says it's too expensive for their poor village, but true masters work for ideals, not just cash. He laughed it off, but he's a sucker for a pretty face. Finally, he learned what it means to be a man. He tells her to call him Sho. She agrees, and they keep riding the rumbling cart while he stays confused. Coachman warns the true master they're surrounded. Demon eyes peer from the bushes, ready to strike. Fei spots black wolves and realizes they've just entered their territory. Shaw panicked, but the girl distracted the pack. As snarling wolves lunged from the brush, the elf told Shaw to climb the tree. Using his low weight, he vaults up a tree as the wolves scramble to follow. Outnumbered and without her bow, the girl panics. The boy freezes in fear, but the fairy reminds him of magic. She has fire powers but refuses to use them. Black wolf pelts are worth a fortune, don't burn them. Sho clarifies he meant something else. Lightning magic fries targets and blasts back anyone nearby. The girl gets it. If that tree gets hit, it's game over. He needs a new plan fast. Finally a plan. The spirit's blessing would shield the area. His lightning magic spawns instant storm clouds. She's impressed, but he's just running a weather sim. No water nearby, but the forest is surprisingly humid. Clouds gather, lightning crackles, and a bolt strikes right at them. The boys leaped down and bolted. The wolves were dead, and Faye loved it. The man in the wheelchair waits for 2 passengers as the girl asks the merchant for their price. The merchant tests their resolve, but the girl shuts him down. She's got the cash. Sho admits he's always wanted to try Black Wolf, and the girl agrees, recalling when Boulder blocked her village's road. He stared at the impossible boulder, clueless how it got there. It was so massive, people nearby looked like insects. Fei Fei's back and the crowd's hyped. She tells the guys she's brought a real master. Residents cheer, praying they're safe, but he has no idea how to destroy it. The Dark Elf village sits by a massive east-west ridge at the end of a rift valley. A 30-meter boulder crashed from the cliff, blocking the valley road and trapping every vehicle. The boy's magic explodes. Shaw tries to hide the blast, but the smoke clears to reveal a black hole. Compressed air only scorched the surface. It's a dynamite blast in the old world, but he needs way more heat. Compressing air spikes the heat. Double the pressure and the heat and braking force skyrocket. He's combined different spells before, but now he's attempting the impossible, casting the exact same magic twice. Mixing magic is like a two-handed grip, but doubling the same spell is just stacking bats. The boy's trying something dangerous. Back off and focus up. White hot at 5,000 degrees, he tests it on a stone and it melts instantly. He twists deeper, the boy's eyes widen as black liquid leaks from the stone. Magma erupts, Sho panics as it nears, all because he dropped his guard for a second. He drilled a straight hole to spike the pressure and break free, leaving Faye terrified. She calls out until Sho finally wakes up. He apologizes for draining his mana, but she knew those boulders were trouble. If they don't move it, they'll just clear a path for the carts. Sho thinks his magic is the key, but with only 2 uses a day, this is gonna take a while. She beams, calling it nothing compared to their years of training. They tried everything to clear the path, but the stone only cracked. Horizontal insertion triggers a deadly lava blast. Move the sleeve straight, then slightly down and back, repeat that twice. Master's exhausted, so Feet lets him rest. Sho knelt before the girl, face red with shame. Their obsession terrified him, but she claimed they were just buttering up a useful tool. The elves grumbled about the royal treatment until Faye silenced them for trash duty. Watching them, the boy realized these elves were total Amazons. 10 days pass, every magic blast widens the hole in the boulder. Tunnels finally open, and the village is back in reach. The dark elf elder was speechless, unable to thank him enough for his help. Everyone is stunned by the old man's age, but I tell him not to worry. Double magic confirmed. If he'd pulled this at the castle, Leela would have screamed her head off. I was looking for rare local minerals or uniquely colored stones. Girl spots black stones, so the boy double-checks, suspecting it's obsidian. Girl doubts it's obsidian because it's crumbling, and Faye wonders how such a fragile stone is even useful. They want him found. He's on the rocky wall at the valley entrance. The boy wants a tour on the way back, and the girls are all in. Faith says Shaw saved the village, and she's about to confirm it. A limestone hill appears, and the girl points. The stones are here. The elf says this black stone sphere crumbles too easily to even make an arrowhead. Sho tapped the wall, grabbed a stone chip, and confirmed his theory. He stacks the stones and ignites them. Faye's stunned, these rocks actually burn. He's glad Yugolki exists, the Industrial Revolution's true path. The elf thinks it's magic, but these stones burn solo. Fuel crisis solved, next stop steam engines. He'll deliver the sample and report to Her Highness while we assemble the investigation team. Darkness falls and she regrets the distance. He wants to stop, but she refuses to head back, so they settle in a field. Shu's stunned, but Feifei tells him not to worry. They're elves and they're always here. That wasn't it, he just didn't think he belonged. The elf's place is a wreck, but she offers him a bed and a hot meal. Shaw stretches his aching back on the couch. Pull-ups done, he shifts focus. Barry's asleep, so the boy slips out. Annoyed he vanished, the queen realized he'd hit the dark elf village. She expected good news, and he gladly agreed. He tosses coal on the table. Layla stares, confused, calling it just a black rock. Inside Risail's workshop, the man mistakes the stone for fuel, but the queen realizes it's not magic. He confirms it's mana-free. Sho grabs it, loads coal into a device, and torches it. Leela's amazed. Risail says its massive firepower will solve their fuel shortage. Sho fires stones to purge impurities and create coke, a high-grade fuel that lets them smelt more iron than ever. One problem: smoke pollution. Burning coal choked the city with soot, poisoning the citizens. Industrial coal smoke killed millions, and the wealthier the nation, the deadlier the air. Leela wonders about his plan. He confirms smoke in water dissolves the soot and toxins. Coal smoke turns water into toxic hydrogen sulfide, but the girl's fear vanishes with a simple fix: toss in some insects. Insects devour corpses and sludge, keeping rivers clean in a world without sewers. They can handle the insect swarm. Leela and Rassel agree, so the girl suggests sending researchers to the coal mines. Opening a mine is a massive job, clearing forests, building roads, bridges, and a coal railway. Stella tells the girl Shaw's back. Confused, the boy looks to the master and Stella for answers. Rubia's confused. He vanished for 10 days without telling his master, claiming he had business in the Dark Elf village. The girls freak out over Dark Elves, but the boy is totally clueless. The girls assume he's only there for the Dark Elves' massive chests. Shu claims he's just helping. Master's torn between her chest and Dark Elves, but Shu picks her breasts instantly. Rubia questioned his logic, but I realized he had a reference. Just then, Faye burst in to rush Shaw, earning an annoyed glare from the room. Elf meets Dark Elf, and they're both stunned by each other's looks. Shu awkwardly claims it's one of the 36 strategies. Just run away, she yells resentfully. He shouts back goodbye. Sprinting through the shops, they finally stop. Shaw catches his breath, now certain elves and dark elves are sworn enemies. Fifi reveals a legend. Elves and dark elves share an ancestor and once lived together in the elven world. Their rivalry destroyed their world, forcing them to flee here and abandon their civilization. Shaw is floored by the heavy lore. They crash the show, screaming for everyone to run. Panic hit as the whole city scrambled to escape. Crying resident begs the host for help, claiming a demon just snatched his child. Ju's eyes widened as he turned toward the fleeing crowd. The shelter boy screams for help, trapped in a massive demon's grip as leaves swirl around them. Crowds scream for help. A harpy snatched a boy, and Fei has no clue why she's there. Joe saw their magic would hit the kid, but the answer hit him instantly. He remembers the shelter slingshot. Merging his magic with Fei's will wipe them out. Mass times velocity squared, he fires a projectile at the monster. Weight is power, magic cuts weight for speed, then kills the spell right before impact for a massive hit. Ju knew she could take his head, he needed one more shot. An arrow pierces the monster's heart, catching the boy off guard. Russell aims his bow, calling the monster a filthy beast. Let him go, he yells. The boy thanks him as the bird shrieks in agony. Fei attacks, dropping masonry to crush them. The bird's hurricane surges, forcing everyone indoors. The bird transforms, blasting the heroes and townspeople. Stella appears, the guys raise a barrier, but Shaw's just relieved to see her. Her work is insane, the barrier's transparent but stops all physical hits. Stella brags it can even tank dragon fire. Photons phase right through Show, leaving him wide open to lasers, microwave magic, and solar attacks. Rubella appears, senses danger, and warns Show to back off before the girl explodes. He yells for her to stop, calling her insane for risking the city and its kids, but Rubia says sacrifices are necessary. Looking dead serious, Ficky leaps onto the balcony, distracting Rosalie and snatching the bow for herself. He drew back and fired a full-power arrow at the monster. The giant roars at the city and drops the boy, sending him plummeting. Fei yells for Show, who spots the falling boy and rushes over, triggering his weight reduction power just in time. He catches him inches from the ground and dives through the window. He lunged to the door and the girl, leaving her stunned and speechless. He begs her to watch the kid. Terrified, she scoops him up with shaking hands, tearing up in a panic. Shu yells for her to hurry, terrified for the city and the kid nearly killed by that bird. She steels herself and nods. The bird raises its sword, alerting Show and Fei. They scream for help as the beast resumes its attack, raining projectiles on the boy. Exposed and cornered, he takes a fatal blow to the heart as she screams his name in terror. Stones wound the boy, the dark elf screams, and his phone shatters, triggering a flashback. Show greets the camera, introducing himself as the channel's king of inventions. He shows off a round alarm clock, starting the build today, and it runs completely on its own. The recording cut halfway, he reviews the footage and it ends with the guy asking for likes and subs. 12 views and 3 subs already. He's hyped to see the numbers climb and new comments rolling in. MC plans his next shot, dreaming of a new camera. He hears his name, eyes snap open, and he gasps. She offers to treat his chest wound, but he insists he's fine. A hidden item saved his life. Why is he risking it all? He asks for the harpy. She's already circling above on guard. The kid's safe, so she's ready to blow the place, but Shaw stops her to protect the city. She asks for a plan. He's got one, but he lacks the mana for something this huge. He needs it. She gets it. He bolts, leading the way and telling her to wait for his signal to start. He blasts the harpoon with a ball, catching her completely off guard. He retreats as Shaw yells for the master to start. He raises her staff and casts a weight gain spell. Monster down, he draws a knife and lunges. Midair, he adds weight and slams the heart with full power. Blood sprays as he hits the dirt, lifeless. The monster is finished. The girl asks if they're finished. Show says it's up to her. The crowd roars for the host's victory. Stella eyes the rare, fresh loot and orders the harpy hauled to the castle. Dad reaches the boy and Mom for a tearful, joyful hug. Layla suddenly appears in the carriage, checking on a shocked Shaw. Hearing a noise, she rushes over to find him wounded and asks if he killed the demon. He didn't do it alone. His friends, the master, Stella, and Fei, the dark elf, all backed him up. He credits the gunsmith, beyond grateful for the assist. Her Highness rewards their bravery with 2 gold coins. He offers to return them, but Layla's broke and promises to pay him back later. The girl thanks Fei and invites her to visit. Fifi and a night duel at the castle. He disarms her opponent, clinching an absolute win. Layla beams with pride, hands on hips, calling her skills undeniable. Her assistant warns dark elves are untrustworthy. She agrees they have a village, but they aren't official residents of these lands. They're hiring the elite, and she knows they're the ones who saved the show and the city. She claims Mizuki's headed to the Empire as her escort, but the elf isn't buying it. She asks if she's getting paid. Layla shyly confirms. He's happy for her. Serving the castle is a dark elf's dream, and she thanks the MC, but Layla warns she'll soon regret it. He finds his smashed phone and mourns his loyal friend. Now he can't record his magic inventions. He boxes it up and thanks him for the save. He sits on his bed, haunted by his demons. Master says demons only kill to defend their land, but this harpy hunted the city. Shaw knows something is dead wrong. Weeks later, he spots a carriage and grins in surprise. She's high class, so why use the back gate while other elites use the main entrance? Nim calls from behind. He greets her. She asks where he's been so early, and he says he was gathering forest ingredients. He offers breakfast, but she says her highness is waiting with a guest, likely the one in the wheelchair. In the office, Leela checks on Rubia, but she's no help. Suddenly, a man enters, asking if she summoned him. Layla's relieved he's finally here. She presents him to Princess M.I. Looney, and he bows in greeting. The scarred girl is first Princess M.I. Luna Faltaz, but just call her Maruna. The princess calls him Faltaz's legendary truth seeker, and her only hope. He notices her nasty sunburn and asks about the injury. She reveals a demon attacked her while she was out gathering plants. Rumors of demon attacks were everywhere, but she never thought she'd be next. Harpies are back, and Layla fears the rising demon threat near Farline. Rumors of flying dragons leave the boy stunned. She begs Sho to heal Maluna, but he admits if his master failed, he's powerless. He remembers his world treats burns with skin grafts or fragment regeneration. He remembers his magic orchid clones and wonders, can he do the same with skin? He asks, got a better plan? He's got a plan, but it's unproven, risky, and might not even work. He warns recovery takes time. The princess agrees, calling the royal family's ugly daughter worthless. Without her old face, she can't return home, but he's totally clueless. Maruna clutches her chest, says she has nothing to lose, and tells him to do it. He doesn't get why she feels worthless just because her beauty is gone. He says looks aren't everything, and she's right. Maruna is the princess of Faltaz. To save her kingdom, she must marry right and stay perfect. It's her royal mission. He asks if she'll marry for her country. She agrees, claiming she's a rose, not a wildflower. Girls watch in silence as MC says he understands. Untested on humans with unknown risks, he warns her to be ready, and she agrees. Princess on the table, MC masked up and ready to operate. He grabs the scalpel and steadies his nerves. Trusting his master for backup, he takes the gamble. He starts on the shoulder, disinfecting it with alcohol. Myron agrees. He numbs them, using 4 forceps to dunk the object into the liquid. He uses spider venom as anesthesia, numbing the area to kill the pain. He extracted poison from the chocolate, a perfect local anesthetic. He warns she'll soon be too numb to feel him. Maruna admits she's already freezing. Ruby's shocked he thought of that, but he can't use paralysis magic. Now even magicless doctors can use it. He asks if she feels sick, but she says no. He slices and folds the skin, casting a spell to trigger rapid growth. Growth magic supercharges skin development and forces cells to multiply instantly. Skin cells accelerate, sealing the wound shut. Magic heals 3 centimeters every half hour, totaling 6 centimeters a day. He calls her stunning and hands her a mirror, noting her wounds are finally healing well. She smiles, never seeing such a beautiful mirror. He apologizes, telling her to ignore the mirror and see his work. The princess sees the restoration and calls it wonderful. Over pancakes, Layla reveals she's the MC's cousin. Her late mother and Queen Felthise were sisters. They only meet once a year now, but Maruna misses playing at the Fardy's lakeside villa. The boy watches in total disbelief. The princess feels like she's in another world, spotting exotic pastries in a bright, crystal-filled room. She tells Layla she's resting because of her great owner, admitting she's actually jealous. The girl offers Sho triple pay to join her, sending Layla into a rage over the blatant disrespect. He laughs and says sorry, but he promised the queen he'd build this nation and won't leave. Stunned by his oath, she sees a true knight. Most elite masters would never serve someone like her. Money isn't the goal, he has research funds, but food comes first. Layla reveals the show's profits go to an orphanage, leaving Maruna stunned. It's all for Far Lane because children are the national treasure. The girl thinks he's weird, but the princess gets it. Maruna refuses to let birthright waste talent, believing that investing in kids today builds the nation's future. MC questions the princess's mastery, but Layla's stunned he didn't notice sooner. The girl claims master training, but Stella interrupts, sensing something sweet. Maruta greets her after ages, completely stunned by the girl. Stella's disgusted by her own scar, proving to the MC she was the princess's mistress. 3 days of treatment went smooth, but on day 4, Princess Melaniz's fever spikes. Medicine repairs his skin, supercharging his body's healing. Exhausted and needing rest, she's hit with a surprise midnight show announcement. Layla asks him to return and retell the story. He asks where he is and she reminds him, this is where heroes mourn their lost love. He asks how she's feeling and she's doing much better today. He notices Princess Maluna's burn scars are finally healing. Her MC calmly waters the plant. The princess spots the rare plant and asks for a look. He lets her. Shaw says the treatment's ending. Maruna agrees, saying she can't thank him enough. He says her safety is all that matters, and she blushes, snuggling close. He drops the funnel and warns her to stop. She apologizes, admitting she's never felt this way before. Hero warns her once healed duty starts. She agrees but hesitates. He thinks she's confusing healed scars with love, but she insists he's a wonderful person. Maruna says she's not right for him, and she's right. She asks if meeting her first would change fate. He says no, he's loyal to Layla, the princess, Stella, and the entire castle. Confused, she asks again. He clarifies it's Rubia, the woman who saved him in the forest and forged him into a true master. He admits without this they'd never have met. She laughs bitterly, wishing she was a wildflower instead of a rose. Princess turns to leave, announcing her parents arrive next week. MC stunned the king and queen are visiting. She told them her burns were healing, and now the royals are coming to see them both. He grins, vowing to show off her beauty, and she tearfully agrees. A week later, Mirota's face is healed, leaving King Faltas and Queen Eliza stunned. He calls it a miracle. She's skeptical, but the princess reveals Sho healed her face. The king shakes his hand, hailing it a miracle, while the boy stands there baffled. It's no miracle, just logic magic and the princess's grit after surviving her torture. The king thanks him for saving the princess, but our hero insists even masters bow to the crown. He refuses, not as a king but as a father. Faltas bows in gratitude. MC leads the queen and princess to his workshop, letting them explore while the king finishes his meeting. She asks Sho if that healing magic works on others, too. She spots new eye wrinkles, so the MC offers to fix them along with her sagging chin, leaving her in total shock. Compared to the princess's burns, this is easy. Sho tells her to try and she happily agrees. Faltas and Layla wrap their meeting. The king calls it productive, but Layla's already rushing to leave. Belto tells his wife it's time to go, but stops dead when he sees her. He asks about her face and Eliza laughs, thrilled he noticed. She uses the local craftsman's magic too. Shocked, he asks if it's a youth elixir. She's still the same age, he just smoothed her wrinkles temporarily, and he's completely baffled by how it happened. The king's magic charms women, and word of his healing soon reaches every noble on the continent. The princess and queen regained their youth, and now proposals from every royal family are flooding in. MC freezes a woman's skin to erase her wrinkles, but the show isn't satisfied, leaving him in tears because he's no cosmetic surgeon. Layla and Sho grab tea, but she notices he's wrecked. Daily requests are breaking him, but Layla's just happy he's making bank. Offers flooded in once Maruna fixed her face, making her wonder, was she ugly before? He asks if Maruna will find a match. The queen says plenty of people are just eager to look good. In a distant alley, she finds Maruna's perfect match, Viskelfuras, a man everyone trusts. She doubts he'll be a family man and rejects the weak title. He claims the name doesn't matter and gives an example. He hands the Viscount crystal production, announces his mass manufacturing success, and promises to make him a duke. She calls it a lie, but he knows Maruna trained under a master. She's the only one to trust with glasswork. Queen reveals Maruna loved him and calls Shaw a monster, but he's completely clueless. Her Highness sends Faltas a letter introducing the Viscount and his booming industrial lands, promising a massive future. Maruna fell for him instantly, now they're engaged. MC hits the Viscount's estate to teach them glassmaking. If he runs the glass factory, every other project fails. He had to do it for Farlane. Years pass since he stayed at his mentor's forest home. Rubia asks why he's here, and the boy explains he came to check on the harpy after hearing a demon attacked it. Farlane must defend himself without magic if things go south. He's crafting fire potions, straight up gunpowder. He's shocked it's a weapon, and the show confirms it. He knows she sees the weapon's true power. Rubia thinks it over, agrees, and vows not to interfere. She warns Sho if he uses it for evil, she'll stop him as its mistress. The boy smiles, glad she's his mistress. He gets to work and tells her to stick close, it's dangerous. He starts making gunpowder immediately, using saltpeter as his base. Grab forest humus in the owner's manure. It's just a mix of its owner's trash and its own. Manure, humus, and magic mix for instant fermentation, and the stench is foul. Gagging at the stench, the MC wonders why he's so confused in this new world, while Shaw insists it's all for the good of the country. The stench is foul but nostalgic, reminding him of the sewage trucks back home. He tosses the crushed tablets in. Rubia appears nose-pinched, asking about the smell. He warns her to stay home for safety and tells her to plug her nose. She screams she doesn't get it, certain a master always knows when their student finally sees the truth. She gets close, but the stench sends her reeling. He warned her. He tells her to watch but stay back. Fermentation is peaking and this liquid is loaded with nitrate. It's water-soluble, so he's extracting it now. He drops the stuff in water and magic heats it, but someone's about to have a bad time. Evaporate the water and white needle crystals coat the kettle, nitrocrystals. It's full of impurities, but repeat recrystallization will max out its purity. Rubia asks if it's fire potion, but Sho says it's just an ingredient. He'll finish the gunpowder tomorrow, he just needs charcoal and sulfur. She's grossed out by the smell, but he reveals it's made of trash. When she asks if it's asterisk or asterisk garbage, he's left speechless. Rubia screams in rage while Stella cracks up. Shaw turned Rubia's poop into a weapon, leaving her fuming and blushing. She mocks his stench, but he's freshly scrubbed and clean, making him doubt his own nose. Steel casts a cleansing spell, erasing his scent. He's shocked by how handy it is. He asks what he'll do with the crystals. He combines sulfur, coal, and saltpeter at a 7:1 ratio, ordering her to grind it into a fine powder. Stella doubts it's a weapon, but she's told to fire. It vents air to prevent an accidental explosion. MC torches it with a candle, and Stella asks what it means. Press it later, she's shocked, but he explains, wet it down and wrap it in cloth. They load it, using magic to compress it instantly for a massive power boost. Once dry and brittle, it's crushed into dust and reignited. He torches the gunpowder with a candle, and the fabric erupts. Ruby is skeptical, Stella's impressed, and the black powder is finally ready. He just needs to grab the dwarf master's gear and deliver it to the queen. Later, the queen asks for more inventions. The boy nods and tells her to look. He draws a break-action gun with a dwarf-cast barrel and bullets. She asks what it is. He explains the gunpowder inside and loads a lead bullet on top. He fires and the bullet shreds right through the armor. The girls are stunned. He explains the lead bullet pierced the armor. It'll pierce right through armor and even thick-skinned demons. Layla asks if it's magic, but no, it's science. She asks if any amateur can fire this and if even peasants can slay monsters. The boy agrees, chin in hand. The queen admits the truth is terrifying. He laughs, asking why they're scared. She'll find a use for him. The girls are baffled. Queen bans the jokes. He obeys. He refuses to sell weapons and gunpowder, keeping them strictly for national defense. Gunpowder blasts through stone to speed up coal mining. Stella warns if this spreads, hell breaks loose. Like Nobel's dynamite, a tool for building becomes a weapon of war. History proves the old world couldn't keep the peace, and he won't let this world repeat that mistake. Layla knows this power sparks war, but after the harpies in Maluna, she realizes the demons are finally making their move. Chaos is spreading and the people are under attack. As a royal, she knows it's time to step up and defend her kingdom. She tasks him with weapon production. He accepts and Layla locks it down as a top-tier state secret. He'll craft gunpowder solo. Mass production risks too many leaks. Armed with the princess's secret funds, he buys animal manure to skyrocket production efficiency. Supplies are stacking up, but watch that gunpowder, friction or static, will blow it sky high. They spread it wet across the castle, then flash dry it with magic when the time's right. He builds a new weapon. They test the AA gun at the range, and the first salvo triggers a massive explosion. Chika's twin brothers, Kaka and Tika, are down. These former hunters have god-tier vision. Kaka and Tika can spot targets from 1,000 km away, making them the ultimate defense squad. MC jokes they're already close. Layla's thrilled he flew so far and asks how much further he can go. Kaka cleared 400 stops and claims aiming higher will crush 32 more. They've mastered the formula's perfect parabola, showing off insane talent. Even the queen is stunned they did it without magic. They ask if this tube and dust can channel magic. MC agrees to stay quiet but insists they ditch the powder. The guys are in. Layla hires the Chick brothers as the show's new shooters, calling them the perfect fit. She promises raises for hard work. The brothers thank her, and Layla orders the MC to keep building defenses. She says Rassel's mad show hasn't visited, and an embarrassed show admits it's just awkward. She reports the mines and workshops are active, and his road and bridge projects are moving fast. She warns there are no breaks before the invention showcase and demands he visit soon. The boy agrees. MC grins. It's time for the festival's main event. He gasps, stunned by the pillar's massive size. He checks the castle's finished blast furnace, and it's a total masterpiece. The leads handled the mechanics while Russell and the dwarves finished the blast furnace. The craziest part, he taught them how to make coke. Before, heat required magic. Now this furnace melts iron without it. The furnace needs air, but they're still using magic. Sho wants to build a steam engine from his old world to fix it ASAP. Building engines is a massive grind. Even with the theory, they're miles away from making it work. Sho's sure Russell's team can build the engine with the basics, but they still need a working model. A bystander thanks Sho for his hard work, noting everyone's effort. Rasail agrees. They've laid trolley tracks inside the castle to haul coal and supplies fast. Trollabuses are hitting the mines, everything's on track, and they agree this is the dawn of a new era. Roads and bridges hit the mines, hauling coal wagons to feed an exploding energy demand. The city's buzzing as word of its growth spreads, but as our MC hits the streets, he spots something. He eyes the massive building until a stranger asks if he's the owner. Relieved they found the master, he shoves the MC inside, hyping up his top-tier product. He's still processing their questions when he spots the guy next to him trembling. This isn't a shop, it's a criminal den. The man asks which servants he prefers, leaving the MC stunned they even exist. He knows this world's level, servants are expected. Away from the castle, our hero missed the news while the queen hired a massive, well-paid staff. Pointing to a servant the man offers him as a guard, he's an ex-warrior for just 50 gold, a total steal. He refuses to buy servants, calling the practice unacceptable. He's shocked he hates servants. They take in kids of ruined merchants and nobles, anyone with nowhere left to go. It's a global defense system. Someone will buy them eventually, and the servant's lucky if he's the one. He declines and turns to leave, but a terrified man blocks his path, claiming experts can help. He claims the girls upstairs are literate and suggests a check. Realizing he's trapped, Sho agrees to take a look. He's waiting downstairs, take your time and look around. He spots gorgeous girls above, realizing it's a VIP showroom for the elite. Shaw spots a stunning girl and pegs her as a former aristocrat. He's dazed by her stunning look. Suddenly, she stands up and walks right toward him. He nears the bars and bows. He thanks Mr. Zero for the pickup, shocking Sho as he remembers Maria's words. He links her to Zero, claiming he's the show's master. He asks if she knows him. She confirms Zero is her master. He asks if she knows Maria from the shelter and helped treat her illness. She confirms. She purified and injected Maria with streptomycin. The MC is stunned. That's a TB antibiotic from his world. How does she know a drug that shouldn't exist here? He heads down and tells the man to come up. At the top, he asks who he likes. MC points to a girl and confesses. With a master's eye, he spots her talent. She's a genius at reading, writing, and math. The kid asks the price, and the man demands 250 gold. Shocked by the price, he's baffled, but explains she's a total genius with elite skills. Capturing her cost them a small army. Shocked, he asks if it's real. He's only got 100. One guy glares while the other thinks he's joking. He gets an idea, hands them a fruit, and asks if it fits. Lissy calls it cheap fruit, but the merchant is stunned. Even rotten scraps cost 100 gold. This raspberry is worth 400. No gold, the man settles for berries. He mourns the expensive loss but stays calm as the girl is freed. Meet Nanami. She answers his questions but stays mysterious. Does Maria know her secret? Maria asks why she's here, so the MC asks if she recognizes them. She confirms it's Mr. Zero's doll, but he's totally clueless. She thought it was one of his men, but Zero-sama reveals it's a robot. Shocked, the MC asks if she's a robot. Nanami confirms she's basically a machine, programmed and completely lacking free will. He confirms he's right, shocking everyone. She's warm and soft just like a human. He notices every detail, her hair, moist lips, teeth, and even saliva. He inspects her mouth, shocking Maria. The show apologizes and he grills Nanami, who is Zero and where is the creator of this power. She's fully biological and says an accident separated them, but the MC was hoping she'd lead him to the guy. He feels safe with him nearby and asks him to return. He asks Nanami for the square root of 2, and when she asks for the length, he demands 10 decimal places. She recites 1,4,142,135,623, then instantly nails the cube root of 2 as 1. 259,210,498, leaving. He solves any calculation instantly, earning him the nickname Human Computer. Her skills are flawless. He's the mind, she's the machine, and he crafts a gear on a whim. He now instantly visualizes and calculates complex gear designs, from rotary to cycloidal wheels. She's a living bio-CNC machine. He felt scammed, but this tech costs millions back home. Recalling a man's promise to meet again, he realizes her knowledge is priceless. With Zero's strongest assistant ever, he feels like he can create anything. MC and Layla speed off as she shouts in pure excitement. She asks if this is his horseless carriage. Sho confirms, calling it a car since it drives itself. She loves the name. MC explains it's a machine. It never tires like a horse and runs all day with fuel and water. Layla was skeptical of the new girl at first, but now calls her a vital invention, leaving him clueless who she means. Masters nearly punished Nanami, but his precision saved him. Ami's debut was a hit, proving his genius as he built a full steam engine. This engine runs on steam. Coal boils water, forcing steam into the pistons to drive them back and forth. Cranks and flywheels turn that motion into rotation, driving the wheels. This is the world's most famous steam engine. It's a sketchy invention with missing details, but they still built a working replica. Nanami designs, models, and uploads. Assembly is the final step. That's the cycle. He custom-built the boiler and pipes, but it's slow, topping out at 40 km/h. The girl asks, can it go faster? Queen demands more speed, pushing him faster and faster for the thrill. MC sees the princess loves speed. He'd go faster with more gears, but warns the rough roads are too dangerous. The railway means faster, safer travel. Leela's confused, but Sho says it's just like the castle's tracks. Link the country to the coal mines to supercharge transport. More railways mean more trade and travel. They fueled his world's industrial revolution, and he's bringing that same progress here. This demands massive time and money. It's not just about one nation, it's about global progress. Maluna gasps in pure awe. She calls it fun but unfair, so Layla tells her to quit. She asks if she can. Maluna hops behind the wheel, leaving the MC stunned that the princess is driving. Driving's simple, a single-gear automatic with no clutch, and Maluna's already asking Hay to sell it. She offers 500 gold, and he's stunned. That's a massive 100 million yen in his world. He asks if it's enough, but the princess needs more to mass-produce and sell it, calling it a natural investment. MC spots the genius plan, igniting his business drive. It's complex, but she's brilliant. Mass production is inevitable. He knows he'll eventually have to ditch her car. Seeing the engine's design, the master starts building his own in the workshop. He calls the design clever, originally a steam engine built for coal carts. This takes a decade of research, but they built a working car in just 6 weeks. Festival day arrives, and Farline is finally ready to debut his invention. The Queen addresses the festival crowd, thanking them for coming. She puts him on the spot for an opening speech. All eyes are on him, and he's totally clueless. Greeting the crowd, our MC introduces himself as a showman and Master Rubia's student. They head to the castle's exhibition halls to witness their nation's unique advancements firsthand. Our MC opened them, bringing them to life through sheer trial and error. He honors his fellow smiths, praising his nation's artisans and the material team backing them. Echoing Princess Layla, the boy claims the masses back his vision, raising his hand to ask for their love. Fireworks blast over the castle, lighting the sky and shocking everyone. Racing the clock, he crafts the fireworks, orange sodium, white tin, and green copper, all packed into a bamboo cane. This sparks memories of his first workshop mortars, while a man in the crowd calls the fireworks a masterpiece. Rubia admires a painting until Sho calls her master. Startled, she listens as he suggests they head outside the city. Market's bustling, a guy hands Rubia a skewer. Hold this, thanks. She asks if he's okay walking like a star, but he shrugs it off. Meetings start, and he's sure Her Highness has it covered. Rubia smiles, admitting her life's completely different since he arrived. She dreamed of a quiet forest life. The boy apologizes, but Ruby smiles, telling him everything's fine. She tells him if she'd stayed in the forest, they never would have happened. She awkwardly denies her feelings, leaving him blushing and totally clueless. He blushed, telling him she needed to apologize. Ruby says his power earns him a master's recommendation at Imperial College, letting him continue his journey. She asks why she held back. Still blushing, he guesses she just wanted to be with him. He turns away, ditching the formalities. He's staying in the far lane with or without her, but first he apologizes. He reveals why he hid the truth, shocking Rubia. Terrified, he finally confesses he's from another world, leaving her eyes wide in disbelief. The villager points up, asking what's there, but his neighbor says it's too dark to see. The bird knows it's too massive, and it's closing in fast. He's stunned, no way, it's a dragon. A monster raids the city, sending crowds fleeing in terror while our hero stands frozen, stunned by the massive dragon. The dragon terrorizes the city, then suddenly retreats. The MC watches it vanish as the confused crowd asks, is it really gone? He asks what happened. They check if Ruby is okay, and she says she's fine. She returns to the castle. He's worried about the demon surge, but dragons in the city, he never saw that coming. Meeting at the castle, tell only the queen so she doesn't panic. He warns Layla a dragon is in the city, but she doesn't believe him and demands an explanation. Next morning, Mizuki's bird arrives. The queen reads the message. Dragons raided the empire overnight. The letter's news is a nightmare as dragon fire guts the empire. Sho recognizes yesterday's beast and Layla tracks it heading west. He asks what it means and the horrified girl reveals he's coming back. Shock hits the room. The queen orders Mizuki's immediate evacuation. Shaw notes the 400 km distance and asks, how fast can dragons fly? Stella says they're hitting 60 leagues an hour, and he repeats the number back. At 100 kilometers per hour, Mizuki's letter confirms the worst. The dragon hits them in 2 hours. MC asks if they've fought dragons in their long lives. Stella's shocked they haven't and snaps at him to stop mentioning her age. Assume they can magic block fire, kid. She reminds him these are legendary beasts. The elf's books reveal dragons once devoured humanity and torched the world. Shu and Rubia are stunned. MC clutches his head, fighting back tears as Layla demands action. He suggests moving the townspeople into the forest. He orders the seer to send beast people through the city, warning everyone to flee into the forest immediately. She nods and bolts. MC preps the wall cannons for battle, hoping the firepower scares the dragons off even if it can't kill them. Rubia joins the fight. Stella's dreamed of this but doubts her magic against a giant. Rubia only has one shot and Shaw says that's enough. He orders Layla to flee, but she refuses to abandon her people, leaving Sho worried. MC orders the Chinkars to prep the mortars and hit the east rampart. They move out. He's down to 6 bullets after giving one to Countess Maluna. Now he's using magic to dry his gunpowder. East folk scream about an incoming dragon as the girls herd everyone into the forest. Clutching her dress, the girl asks if Farley's safe from dragons. Maria promises the showman will protect them. The man screams at his assistants to move faster, but the students scramble to pack, insisting they need their gear. Master orders them to leave everything behind, survive, and they'll get new ones. 4 hours after Mizuki's news, Knight reports to the queen. The crossbow has fired. She asks if the town's evacuated. He confirms. Layla warns the dragons still hidden, but they must stay ready. Regretting he ever showed up, Sho quietly told the dragon to take a hike. Flash rips through the sky. Everyone looks up and the MC spots it, terrified. Akka spots a dragon. Tika screams it's coming. MC asks Nanami for the dragon's stats. It boasts a 54-meter wingspan and flies 12 meters high. It's impossible. Nanami says the dragon defies physics, but the man already knew. Layla asks what's up and Sho explains that her body and wings make flight theoretically impossible. He figures magic makes the dragon light, but she's stunned. He thinks dragons can even use it. Nanami tracks the dragon at 900 meters. Fifi, Stella, Rubia, and Leela panic as it drops to 800. He looks up. The dragon is closing in. A dragon dives, jaws wide as the Chick brothers scream. The host tells them to stay bold and remember the intersection. The beast is 200 meters out, but Tika says they're almost there. Sho barks the order to fire. They cover their ears as a volley erupts. The boy screams a direct hit. They finally tag the dragon. Take cover. The dragon roars, closing in on the wall. The queen rallies her people. Cannons fire. Crossbow bolts strike the dragon as Tika and Kaka fire another volley. The dragon's magic shield shocks the MC, but Layla's stunned. He can even cast spells. He must shatter the dragon's shield, or his master's magic won't reach him. Another blast hits. The monster enrages and our MC panics. They're clueless until Tika spots a car, shocking the guy. It's Princess Maluna. She's driving a car armed with a mortar, shocking everyone. Layla agrees it's absurd, but that's just classic Maluna. The dragon's shield is failing. The ambush broke his focus and he screams for Ruby to move it. She asks Stella for a shield, and the girl screams for her friend to smash them all. Rubia orders everyone down, her staff glowing as she unleashes an explosion. The show warns Leela to stay alert. The spell breaks, the dragon vanishes, and everyone's left clueless. Stella's stunned. Sho spots Zero dragon tracks and orders everyone on guard, ready the crossbows and load the mortars. He freezes and looks up. The dragon is unscathed, ready to strike, and he's paralyzed with fear. The dragon roars, winding up. MC knows a fire blast is coming. Queen orders an evacuation, forcing every employee out. Stella steps up, ordering everyone behind her magic shield. Move fast. The dragon breathes fire, incinerating towers, homes, the railway, and shops. Forest onlookers watch. The boy clutches his book, fearing the castle's burning, while Nim panics for Mr. Shaw. Stella blocks the inferno with her last strength. Fei shields Leela. The attack ends and the girl collapses. He rushes to help as the castle burns. Stunned by the impact, he realizes Stella's out of mana. One more flame and it's game over. They must act before his next strike, but how? Mortar's and Ruby's magic bounce off his scales. Sho realizes they're powerless. He stops to think now they're finished. Aiming without marks was too hard, so he told Fei to target his eye instead. She's confused, but he's got a plan. The dark elf catches on and lunges forward. He nails the shot and the dragon's livid. Layla warns another flame means death, but Sho's plan is simple. Blast his double magic straight down the dragon's throat. Sho orders the Chikaka brothers to prep the mortar. He knows it'll shatter instantly, so he has to go all out. He chants, dumps his mana, and crushes the air twice, imbuing his weapon to warn the Chika brothers of the incoming fire. He signals the attack and the cannons roar. Mid-show, the air ignites and a massive blast sends everyone flying. The scorched dragon crashes with a roar. Crawling from the rubble, our hero prays it's over, staring down to ask, is it finally dead? The boy shakes the queen awake, checking if she's okay, while Shaw announces the dragon is dead. He calls for survivors, ordering them to shout. The crowd roars in triumph. Rubia tearfully hugs him, relieved everyone's safe. Stella snaps that his magic nearly killed them, but he just laughs and apologizes. She calls him a dangerous student and bans his compression magic, but he just asks about her bandage again. Rubia's dangerous because her hidden power is overwhelming. Pressed for more, he mentions extreme heat, pressure, and plasma. He realizes it's a thermonuclear reaction. Stella stays silent, then asks what that even means. Everything is made of particles, and under extreme heat and pressure, they shatter. Collide and fuse, losing weight. She asks about weight loss, and the show reveals mass converts to energy at light speed squared. She asks for light speed. Hero thinks 300,000 km/s, but tells her it's 187,500 leagues. She's stunned. Stella questions his forbidden knowledge. Flustered, he decides to spill everything. He gathers them and reveals he's from another world. Fei, Layla, and Stella stay stone cold, leaving him stunned. Stella already knew. Layla calls him late, and the show is baffled by their weirdly chill reaction. She didn't buy his overseas story, claiming she'd definitely know a guy like him. Surprised, he admits her logic actually tracks. He asks Rubia if she believed him. She knew from the start. The MC arrives, completely stunned. The queen ignores his past. The kingdom is in ruins, and if Farline wants his body back, they need his help. Rubia asks Shaw to stay. Facing the queen and lord, he freezes, unsure of his words or what he'd do if he ever returned to this world. He's unsure about returning, but he'd go back to posting videos just like before. Unaware of the future, he said no. That world had faceless followers, but this one has friends. He wants to live with the locals, but he's stuck ruling as Farlane's lord. The girls are hyped, but what about the dragon? Layla's plan, strip it for gold. Stella agrees. Dragons are worth a fortune. Centuries ago, even rotten ones could buy a country, and this one's fresh. The girl gives a thumbs up. Books say gallbladders heal, but stones make them worth a fortune. MC asks for meat. Stella's baffled, and Sho wonders if dragons are edible, but she dodges the question. Nami reveals dragon meat is edible. Sho calls her a good girl, drooling over dragon steaks and burgers. Kid charges the dragon. MC eyes the bones for soup, and Rubia is livid. Layla smiles. Shaw's endless curiosity is why they love him. Stella envies his flexible mind and curiosity, calling him a true master. A year later, Farline's still recovering. Dragon bones rest beneath the new walls, now the city's latest symbol. Locals are hyped for the rebuild, but work remains. Layla sneaks up on him, mocking his latest weird theories. Shaw's developing long-distance communication, letting Layla chat with Princess Maluna even from the castle. Queen's hyped, asking if and when they can do it, but he has no clue. Stella and Rubia enter. The owner's still working, but he smiles and offers pancakes when the girls ask for a snack.